How is everyone doing tonight? As the thumbnail and title might have warned you, this is an emergency bonus episode of the Fortnightly live stream that I normally have on this channel. The market is just too hot. Things are going too crazy to not have a bonus live stream. I just listed a couple hundred cards to my eBay, and there's so many things. There's so many things to talk about. I'm here for probably a couple hours at least to talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. As I always do, I'll do a Q&A. I will get to everything in chat unless I accidentally skip over it, in which case I apologize in advance. But I see Mr. Ponga in here. Let me say hi to a couple people. The early birds. Hello, Wall. Hello to you. Gym Leader Pepe, Retrospecs, Pokey Chef, and Mark Miranda. Very nice to see you all. I had an awesome weekend. There is an awesome weekend on upcoming, and I'm excited. I'm excited. Had a wedding last weekend. Got to see Ponga, who is here with us in chat. I will detail some of the shenanigans that happened over at Ponga's, hanging out only 2 weeks after I was there for Collecticon. And then next weekend, I'm going to see some Pokemon people at a wedding, which is exciting. Halloween's in 2 nights. Tomorrow night, we have a trunk or treat. I don't know if anyone is familiar with what a trunk or treat is. I promise I will talk about the Pokemon market a little bit, but I will talk about some extracurriculars as well. Trunk or treat is when you go to the school. It could be anywhere, school, church, whatever, but this one's at the school, and the kids just like literally trick or treat out of people's trunks. A bunch of people from the community, a bunch of people from the school go and park their cars, fill the trunks with candy, and they pass it out to all the kids in costumes. So very excited for that. We got Spat in here. Nice to see you a few weeks ago in Chicago. We're having a bonus emergency live stream. Any question you have, hit me with it. It is there's a sense of urgency in the market, I think, to act, to do something. Everything is on fire in a good way. It's exciting. FOMO hype. You've got to do something, right? So I'm live to celebrate the thing. Trunk or treat is killing Halloween. See, where I live, Halloween can't exist where I live. So by nature, I have to go somewhere. I live on a road with like a handful of houses within like a stretch of a mile. So it's not feasible. It's not reasonable. There's no sidewalk. Neighbors are sparse, few and far between. So trunk or treat for me is like inherently necessary. Or just driving to another community. We go to, historically, we'd go to a friend's or a cousin's or an aunt or a grandparent, somebody that lived in a village, lived in a city. Growing up, like I would always go elsewhere. We take our kids elsewhere, even on Halloween night. We don't hand out candy because there's no kids that would ever be coming to our road. The amount of distance just to walk up our driveway is you'd have like 10 full-size candy bars in the right little community, right? So that's just inherent to where I live. Grind recollects, we've got a very relevant, time-sensitive question, the kinds of questions I've been seeing more of. This one feels like I do know Grimer, I do know Ryan quite well, decently well. I think this one's a little bit tongue-in-cheek, a little bit sarcastic, but I just emptied my 401k. Is Surging Sparks a good investment? Generally speaking, I will never tell people do this or don't do this. But generally speaking, you should ask the questions before, right? You should do your due diligence before doing the big things. But I don't think he's actually done this. I would never personally take 401k money out. Not only that, I always put 401k money in first before I do anything in Pokemon. Before anything happens behind me, before all the graded card shoeboxes filled around my feet, all the things that I do in Pokemon are done after all my buckets are filled. Don't make me get out the buckets this early. Don't make me get the buckets out. That financial advice video from over a year ago. I have given and I will give occasional financial advice on this channel. I know a lot of people are scared about doing it. I'm even scared myself doing it sometimes. I do a lot of caveats, disclaimers, but I will at times give some cheeky financial advice. Let's see. So who else we got? We got Kevo. See, this is not a haircut that was afforded. My haircut budget, there's no bucket for haircuts. My haircut budget, oh man. I'm a Mets fan. I'm sporting the Mets on what I hoped was the last night of the season. Looks like the Yankees are gonna be clawing to a game 5. They just hit up a three-run home run in the bottom of the 8th. So sorry for any spoilers if anyone is gonna watch that later. But I do have that on a TV over there. If I'm glancing that way, I'm watching the Dodgers not complete the sweep, which I'm bummed about. But this is not a haircut that was afforded. One, there's less to cut every time I cut it. But I bought a, shout out to Wahl, W-A-H-L, I believe it is, $35 pair of Wahl clippers 15 years ago. The ROI on them bad boys, throw on a number 2 trimmer. I think this was actually number 3 this time because we're going into winter. So number 3, all over, like done 10, 15 minutes maybe. Then the wife straightens up the edges and the back and the sides. And that's been my haircut budget has been $35 for the past 15 years. I used to work with a guy, like I think he had some involvement in the military at some point earlier in his life. He used to go get a $20 haircut every Wednesday, I believe it was. And he'd tip like $5 or $10. His haircut budget was like $1,500 a year. I mean, that's not me. Again, conscious spending, spend money on whatever you enjoy. That was like one thing that he enjoyed every week. I believe this guy had the money too. Like whatever, I'm not yucking yums, but that's just not me. For me, it's $35 for 15 years. If the pair of clippers unfortunately breaks in the next 5 years, I might have to go over budget. I'm hoping I can get 35 years for $35. That's kind of my rate that I go for. Banking cards to the moon. Chat is loving the haircut. How's it going, Pokemon Dentist? Catch 'em all cards. We are indeed live. We've got Pooping Turtle 69, who you love to see. I've actually got some shipments in. Let me do a little bit of self promo, but like I'm always buying. I will be making a video in the next few weeks. I think I'm always talking about the upcoming videos because there's always so many planned. But Monday will be the 6-month pallet return video. I've not yet finalized it because I'm waiting until Friday. I'm going to record it Friday morning. Friday will be 6 months since May 1st. It will be November 1st. And I will have 6-month results on how the pallet that I bought with my dad is doing. Pallet 2 is also underway. Pallet 1, Pallet 2, doing big things. I'm excited to talk about that in Monday's video. Then after that, I am currently swimming in graded edge plays, graded edge returns. That will likely be a week from Monday. I could have graded all 8s, and I think I would have made a lot of money. I graded a lower 10 rate than I would have hoped, but I did. I'll get into it in the video. I'm not going to hash out like the whole video here, but I intentionally set more than I normally would, and I think I'm someone who normally sends more than most people would. Multiple things going on there. One, 9s a lot of times aren't as punishing as the 10s are rewarding. 2, I'm live streaming soon. So it's like if 9s were to happen on accident, if a few more 9s were to happen than I desired, Fanatics Live, potentially eBay Live, Whatnot Live, like all these exciting things going on in the business and the market. There's a lot to talk about, so I had to go live tonight. But yeah, exciting times. Couple really cool videos coming up soon. I appreciate people talking about the haircut. It literally just me doing it. So I looked a little bit more presentable, a little bit less Bigfoot, a little bit less cryptid maybe for the wedding that I was at in Chicago this past weekend, and then I'm in one in Vermont next weekend. So I need to look a little bit cleaner. What's even going on? Everything is going on. Mr. Haircut, move over Zuckerberg. Who's this guy? How's it going, Dark Ibex? We do have the signals out. I have my Stream Deck that I never used. Does the air horn work? I don't think the air horn works anymore. Maybe you guys heard that. I didn't hear it, though. Country kids would come to our neighborhood. Oh, you're one of the neighborhoods that the country kids go to. Yeah, we have to go like 10, 15 minutes to get anywhere reasonable, I would think. Probably 10 minutes would get us somewhere reasonable. What should I sell my kidneys for? I have no idea the going rate for kidneys, but it's probably not surprising. There's some people out here trying to sell them, trying to put it all into Surging Sparks, booster boxes, or whatever it may be. But yeah, ask your Pokemon questions, whatever you've got. And ask your non-Pokemon questions too, because I'm here for it. We'll see if chat's here for it, but I know I'm here for it. October's almost over now. I did pretty well not drinking too much soda through October, but I didn't drink any in September. I'm actually on my week off. Another part of this exciting week is that I'm on my rest week. I've not retested my vertical yet for the Air Alert jump program. I should be jumping higher than I was 7 weeks ago, but I've not yet tested it. I will have to get that. I'll probably do like an Instagram post for it either Thursday or Friday when I get fully rested. When I feel fully rested, ready to go. I had quite the weekend. Put away a handful of IPAs each night. Put away a handful of too many beverages altogether, but it was a good time. A lot of people selling stuff to buy more surging. Everyone's chasing the green lines, chasing the rocket emojis. Nice buzz. Appreciate you. Fresh cut. People are loving the fresh cut. AJM. The wife's going to be happy with the state of the chat right now because she was asking me. She's like, you're not going to actually grow a mullet, are you? Because when I do my presentations, it's like business in the front, party in the back. You're not going to actually grow a mullet, are you? When are you going to trim that beard? So the wife will be happy. Chat is digging the... I almost feel like it's collusion. Maybe the wife did some outreach and is colluding with the chat to have people praise the haircut so that I do it more often. I'm not going to fall for it, though. I always have the buckets ready. Danny Buckets in the house. Holy Buckets. I believe, I could be wrong. Don't quote me here. Danny Phantom, the first time he ever said his catchphrase, Holy Buckets, it may or may not have been about these buckets. I can't be entirely sure, but it may or may not have been about those Holy Buckets. Some of the conversations that I hear old coworkers have about their 401k loans and how they justified it and how it made sense. People who took 401k loans in January and missed out on, I don't want to do spoilers for the, I don't want to do spoilers for the 6-month return on the S&P 500, but the year-to-date return on the S&P 500 is 23%. So if you took an interest-free loan from yourself in January of this year, and then you're paying yourself back the interest, you missed out on all those gains of the market, right? And sure, it could have fallen and you could have saved yourself that and yada, yada, yada. I never will take a 401k thing. I'm not going to tell people to do it or not to do it. But generally speaking, as far as I understand from people that are financially smarter than me, generally they're not a good idea. I think this was another tongue-in-cheek. We're fueling up the rockets. We're fueling up the rocket ships for sure tonight. There are some names. There are some names in my inbox, not only in my inbox, there are some names that I've had in-person conversations with at various trips that I had a few weeks ago. Maybe Chicago Collecticon, maybe not. So there are some people that I've had in-person conversations with. There's some people that I've had follow-up conversations with in the DMs and all that. I guess let me use this. This is a good time. I have a few topics I want to hit tonight. One of them is recapping, visiting Ponga, the wedding that I went to. So let me tease a few of the things on the slate for tonight. Hopefully it gets people excited. It gets me excited. Everyone has heard from one of their childhood friends or one of their college friends or a coworker. When I was younger, I had first edition Charizards. This is the childhood binder. Let me actually make sure. I know a name's written in here. So I took pictures to post on Instagram, and I haven't posted it on Instagram yet. I need to make sure I don't dox the groom of the wedding that I just went to. I covered it up with stickers. So this is the binder of the groom of the wedding that I went to Saturday. I played racquetball with him in college. Really cool guy. Hadn't seen him in a few years. Hadn't seen him since another one of my college friends' weddings a few years ago. And I think the time before that, unfortunately, life is just busy. And the last 2 times I've seen him was at my wedding and then another buddy's wedding before that. But everyone has a story of someone they know saying, "Oh, I had first edition Charizards growing up." He knew what to put in the front. He knew what was best. But everyone hears that, and then it's like the whole, no, we have Charizards at home, and then it's like the non-holo one from Team Rocket, or it's like base unlimited. They talk about first edition. Check out this dude's binder. So Legendary Collection, base set unlimited, two first edition hollow Team Rocket Dark Charizards. I can't say everything's in like perfect condition, but there's genuinely like first edition hollows. I might make a standalone video of this, like just recapping this binder. The countless times that I've had people say like, oh, I had X, Y, and Z growing up, and then I saw their binder and it was like a couple $100 maybe at best, maybe $400 or $500 at best. I've seen some decent ones, but like this was the first one where it's like you genuinely have thousands of dollars here, and I'm really excited. Condition on a couple, I did look really quickly. Condition on a couple is not amazing, but I haven't gone through it in depth, and I'm excited to go through this in depth, likely in a video at some point. So that was part of this past weekend. But another thing is where I was starting to go to with this. I'm gonna be all over the place probably, but and I will get behind on chat, but I will do my best to catch up with chat and answer every question. So feel free to leave them. So there are potentially plans. And where I was going with that whole thing, somehow, I don't know how I got here, but I got here. I am done. So I think I have, here's my Fanatics rates, my Fanatics collect rates. I think I have them here too. So down below me when I'm in the full screen, and then they're right over here if I slide this way. Let me go here so it's a little bit, okay, so yeah. So in the future, I don't know if Mr. ZNG Emporium is in here, but there are a couple other podcasts out there that have become quite the walking billboards, walking ads for Mr. James's eBay consignment service. I'm not going to pump quite so hard, but I am discontinuing. I've reached out to pretty much all of my remaining. There's not many remaining eBay Buy It Now consigners that I even have at this point. Part of why I'm ending it is because I don't have many left and there's not many coming in, but I just can't really justify continuing to run a service when I'm literally sending some of my own cards to James. His rates are so good now that I mean, my ideal future, if you had asked me a couple of years ago, would have been to get contractor rates with eBay and to get them in a way where I saved a bunch of money selling my cards on eBay and being able to sell other people's cards where I could charge them less. I didn't quite get there. There were conversations of lower numbers and it was going to require exclusivity. And what I had going with Fanatics Collect, it wasn't worth giving that up to go for that. So one great additional thing. So one great thing is I can shout out my buddy James. I can say like, hey, if you're sending to Fanatics, James doesn't do Fanatics. I do Fanatics, the cheapest that I've seen out of anyone. So if you're sending to Fanatics, consign through me. I will sell your cards that are greater than 120 for cheaper than you can sell them yourself on Fanatics. But James, again, similar, about $100 card. Anything over that, he can sell them on your behalf cheaper than you can do them yourself while you're doing all the work. Over 1,000, significantly cheaper. Same thing for my Fanatics. Over 1,000, over 2,400, I will net to you 95%. So one big hesitation I had with eBay Live was that I could not do eBay Live. I could not hand out my login and password to anyone when I had consignor cards on my eBay. Now that I'm going to be discontinuing, it'll be a drawn out process, discontinuing it. It'll probably be till the new year. So probably about a 2-month process to transition my old eBay Buy It Now consigners over to James. And once it's done though, with the new year, I think approximately then is when they were talking about having multi-user account access for eBay Live. But I theoretically, say Fanatics Live isn't really going as well. Say Fanatics Live is going amazingly, but I just want to try eBay Live as well. Maybe I want to have a third streamer that is on eBay Live and 2 people on Fanatics Live. I can do that now. I can do that in a couple months once all the consignor cards are off. I couldn't do it. I couldn't like bring myself to do it when I had other people's cards there, especially when it was the eBay vault, for security reasons, whatever. But like that opens the door for that. So an exciting update in my business, like as the time that we're in right now, there's a door closing, I guess. A door is closing on the few people that were interested in continuing to use my eBay Buy It Now consignments. I'm going to recommend those people who want to go over to James, and I'm going to help facilitate that process. And then anyone who wants to utilize Fanatics, my attention will be more focused on that. My attention will be more focused on feeding my live streamers, feeding Ponga and PK, all the inventory I can find. My attention will be more focused on buying cards, buying collections, grading them, sending the grading misses to be streamed, and all this and that. I see the chat going like crazy. I am miles behind right now, I'm sure, but I'm going to do my best to catch up. I'll try to stay both live and then with the highlighted comments. But yeah, it's like the amount of pivots, the amount of pivots that I have gone through in the past couple of years. Honestly, like the first domino to fall was the Troll and Toad Evo environment being closed. The Troll and Toad Evo environment being closed left me scrambling. I had so many long-term plans for what I was going to do. I was going to do Troll and Toad Evo on the side, and I was going to do eBay up front and center. And where it all ended up is like Troll and Toad closed, and then I pivoted towards eBay Vault, and then that closed, and it's like Fanatics is going really well though. I'm really happy. Only less than a month in to Fanatics Live, it's going really well. I think PK and Ponga are having a lot of fun with it. I'm paying them quite a reasonable hourly rate to do so, and it's a good outlet for me for certain cards that don't do that well on eBay with James. One thing I do have to say too, all the graded edge cards that I got back, all the things that are sub 100 especially, and I'll talk about this more in a video. I will do a formalized video to talk about the closure, and it'll probably be towards the new year. It'll probably be when the last card is sent to James, when the last card is returned to people who have something that they don't want to send to James, or they're not moving ahead with James, whatever it may be. So when the last consignor card is like gone and pushed away, I'll do a closure video, and I'll talk about what I'll continue to sell on my eBay. Because like my eBay sales will not go to zero. They were 1.3 million last year. They are on pace to be over 1 million this year already, just because the first half was so crazy. I think they're already over 1 million. So I'm going to beat last year. I'm going to beat last year's 1.3 million, but next year will definitely be lower. Next year will definitely be lower because a large chunk of them are already going and will continue to go to James. But there are still certain cards. There are still certain cards that is very beneficial to sell on my own, either because the shipping fee that James charges eats into it too much, or the $5 sub 100 surcharge that you do. I have that same thing with Fanatics for sub 120. So there are certain instances where I might still sell, and I don't even know this number to be sure. I might sell 500 grand on my eBay next year. I might sell, actually, if I do pivot into eBay Live, if I get streamers for that, I might sell $1.5 million on eBay next year. So I'm going to be somewhere between 150,000 and $1.5 million on eBay next year. I'm not entirely sure. Hopefully with Fanatics, between the live, between the auctions, I'll be a couple million there. But like the fact that 7 figures of business are just so like up in the air, in flux, I'm going to do them. It's just, where am I going to do them? It's pretty wild. It's a pretty wild thought to have, but like, that's how crazy this market is. That's how much opportunity there is in this market right now. That's how much money there is out churning for the taking. So like, it's a crazy time that we're in. I know it was one little innocent question, and then I went all over the place showing someone's childhood binder, but gonna be dunking next year in Chicago for sure. Loving Glow Up Dan already. When do the Surging Sparks ETB pre-order Pokemon Center come out? So Surging Sparks Pokemon Center ETBs, you can already buy them right now. People have actually been buying them like crazy. I've not myself, but people are buying the Surging Sparks, unless you're talking about the non-Pokemon Center ETBs, I'm not sure. But Ponga's worried he's being attempted to be replaced. So the Yankees just officially won. Now I can turn this off and quit glancing. But the MLB season continues. I was trying to usher in the end of it with this shirt, but anyways. So next Pokemon set is Surging Sparks, which is a regular full set release. Getting ready for No Shave November. This one is definitely influenced by my wife. Pokestocked must be a plant by my wife, because she's like, I'm never gonna see your face again, am I? You're always gonna have a beard. I used to have to shave for work to wear a respirator. I don't miss having to shave. Less am I growing a beard, more I'm just not shaving, because I'm lazy and I want to be able to get ready quicker for the day. And having a 5-10 minute process of like shaving my face is just not some daily maintenance that I want to have to do. But this one feels like it's got to be a plant because she's like, I want you to shave it all the way so I can see your face again. Let's see. I'm looking to sell my sealed in the next year. 9 booster box cases and a bunch of UPC cases. What is your recommendation for how to maximize sales on those and quickest? I mean, if you have an LGS that will pay you in cash $100 bills, if you have a local convention to yourself where you can sell them for 90%, 95%, like I think they would sell fairly well depending on what the broader feel of the market is at the time. But like a local streamer, a local LGS, that's if you're targeting like 80%. That said, open up a TCG player account. If you want to get 100% of market, you quickly find out that like the sell-through rate might be high. The sell-through rate will be high on TCG player and eBay as of right now, I'm sure. But 100% is 80%, right? 100% is 80% because you pay the 12% fee, you pay shipping, you got to do all that work yourself. But if you can fill up the back of your truck and you can go get $100 bills counted out, no 1099 generated, I'm not making any suggestions there, but like having some local whale, some local streamer, whatever it may be, that'll just buy you out at 80%. That's a beautiful thing. Pong is your buyer right there. I'll probably be a buyer on a lot of that stuff, but depending on what it is, I have my limits. Like I will occasionally buy 80, 85% on certain things, but if I have a lot of it already, if I have like my long-term position that I want to have, if cash flow is kind of tight for whatever reason, maybe I just bought a $100,000 collection elsewhere, I might only be offering 70%. So, yeah, it's hard to say. Dan paid 90%. Let me know, Pongo Man. Oh, man. Let's see. I paid... I want to say it was 85%. I want to say I paid Java and Spat 85% to get some stuff really quickly for that sponsored stream that I did. Rattle made the sponsored video for the stream on Saturday. PK was running on fumes. PK is like, man, you're holding me back. You got to get me a bunch of cards. I have in front of me, around me, I have a lot of stuff going out to PK and Ponga this week, and I will have a steady train going. Like just every week I'll be hitting them with something as long as they need it. I think PSA started grading harder recently. My last few sub percent has gone down and I don't feel like I've changed. Consistently inconsistent. So don't use your anecdotal information when there is like good broad information out there. So shout out to Pokemetrics. I'm a huge fan of the website. I'm not sponsored in any way. But like one great thing they give us, it's like why speculate when we can just look? So let me pull up Pokemetrics here. So shout out to these guys. It's a beautiful website. They show you. So in the past, this is PSA has graded 87,000 unique Pokemon cards. 87,000 unique different variants of Pokemon cards. They've graded 14.2 million Pokemon cards in total. Historically speaking, 6.7 million have graded the PSA 10, 47%. In the past week, 44,000 of the 92,000 cards they've graded. And if you do the quick math on that, that's very approximately 47%. If you want to go deeper than this, you can look at gem rate. But look at this. Just under 50%. Just under 50%. This is actually a little bit over 50% in the past year. But you can go into gem rate. You can get way in the weeds. You can break it down like a lot further. A lot of big pieces of data are out there. So like don't use... Like I literally in the past 3 weeks, I've gotten in 1,500 cards. Overall, some subs felt a little bit harsher, some felt a little bit light, whatever. It feels about right. It feels about right. And that's a tiny sample size of 1,500 to 2,000 cards. I hear people saying, PSA has been grading tough lately. Well, what did you send? Oh, well, I had a 20 card bulk sub come back or a 20 card special come back. It's like, you can't really do that. You can't, even if it's 5 20 card submissions. Well, you're talking about 100 of the 100,000 cards they graded in the past like 4 days or whatever. They're grading 12 million cards a year, 1 million cards a month. Like you can't really base it off a 50 or 100 card submission. There's going to be variance, consistently inconsistent, where the numbers are made up and the points don't matter. All the things that I always say apply for sure. Probstein is solid. So one thing I unfortunately can no longer say as of right now, I think it will come back in the future. One thing I used to do with Fanatics Collect, and it used to be sealed booster cases of modern sets. It used to be sealed individual booster packs. It used to be old vintage boxes, mid-era boxes. It used to be anything Pokemon sealed. They're currently on hold right now with sealed TCG. In the future, they might add it again at some point, but as of right now, they're not. But Probstein does. There are other consigners that do. So like chuck in, I mean, you can send four booster cases in a 12 by 12 by 20 to Probstein, and you can get like whatever they pay, 90 whatever percent payout. They handle all the shipping and all that. So Probstein is an option as well. I think there might be other ones that do sealed, but Probstein is the biggest one, I think. James doesn't do sealed. I can't right now with Fanatics, but I might be able to in the future. I can tell Black Friday, Christmas time has started, hitting some nice numbers today. Nice to see that you're having good sales numbers. Love to hear that. Nice to see you in here, Drac. Soder. Pumpkins are super cheap at the store right now. We went to our fine Walmart to pick up some different stuff. We picked up some water and some beer and some stuff for the some refreshments and snacks for the house that we're gonna be in this weekend at the wedding. And we picked up some other random groceries that we needed. I think the daughter has some candy donut party going on at school tomorrow, so she got all that. But we bought two massive pumpkins for $2.50 each. So we haven't carved pumpkins yet this year. My wife and my kids decorated the pumpkin. They decorated it to be like Oscar the Grouch. They entered it into some little, not that little. They entered it into a competition at school that had like 90 something pumpkins enter, I want to say. And my wife and kids' pumpkin that they did, they won. They won the whole contest. They won like some Barnes & Noble gift card or whatever. But yeah, we hadn't carved any yet this year. Tomorrow night we're going to do trunk or treat, and then we're going to carve pumpkins after it. And then obviously Thursday night we're going to go out and do formal trick-or-treating. We don't do trunk or treat on Halloween. A lot of times the school will do it a day or two beforehand. Would buying Brilliant Stars 10-pack and not opening it be a good thing to invest in, or should I open it? Opportunity cost. I think there are many better things to invest in than any one specific Pokemon card item. Like opportunity cost. Dan, thoughts on me sleeping for 14 hours on Saturday? It took me a long time to catch up. It took me a long time to catch up on sleep this week. I don't know if I'm fully caught up. But Spat says rip it. Spat says rip it. Let's see. What singles are selling good in Fanatic streams? Mini Fanatics update. At some point, probably in a month or so. I feel like I want to get another month under our belts. Maybe I'll even wait for the new year. Maybe I'll wait for 2 more full months of data. I want to have like a call with Ponga, have a call with PK. I am in continuous talks with them throughout the week. Like, hey, what do you need? What's going well? They give me ideas of what's going well. But before I make my video, maybe I'll even get little clips from them. And maybe I'll reach out to PK and Ponga and ask them to record a little 5-minute thing if they want to. If they don't want to, that'll be fine too. But no, I will do. Give me a couple more months though. Give me like 3 months worth of data where it feels more relevant. I will do approximately like, I will do some numbers on how many items per hour that we're doing and how many dollars per hour we're selling roughly. Some of our biggest streams, some of our small streams, and just how all of that goes. But right now it's so early, it's hard to say. All Dan's loving their buckets. SpongeBob MTG gonna slap. Is that an actual thing? I know they do a lot of different collaborations. I've not heard about that one. That's interesting. Only buckets I have is to fill up with Surging Sparks. You love to hear it. What are the things to look out for? 151 crushing that though, man. 401k loan for the win. Oh man. Oh, you guys are gonna kill me. Who says, yeah, 401ks are dumb. I'm pulling all my money out. Not saving room for EV juicer set. I'm definitely saving room for all additional sets. $20,000 to $50,000 per set every set. Definitely. Pokemon will always be a guaranteed 100% gain in the 401k. Let's see. Dan sourcing at a wedding. We are booming. We are indeed booming. Look at this wedding score. This was from the groom himself. I went up on the altar, and as he was saying his I do's, I snuck this out of his back pocket. Actually, it's funny. He did like some. I was hanging out at Ponga's house Friday night. Let me talk about the weekend a little bit. So I went to Chicago, and I went on Friday morning. And Mr. Ponga himself picked up myself and my wife, and we went to oh no, Ponga, help me in chat. What was the place called we went for lunch? I'm gonna do a little bit of a food tour, food review. We talked about Culver's a lot, but we didn't go to Culver's. We went to Portillo's, I believe. I said it before he said it. So we went to Portillo's. Their beef sandwich with like light gravy or normal gravy I did on. That was amazing. That was really solid. I think it's cheating calling it fast food because it was like $44 for myself and my wife. I did get a large onion ring. I got two sides of sauce. But Portillo's was really good. I think Chef actually talked down on it a little bit. But I think Chef did not have an amazing experience with it in Chicago Collecticon a few weeks prior. But I was a big fan. The fries were crinkle cut. They're not as good as curly cut. But that was like a high A tier, low S tier thing, calling it fast casual, fast food, whatever. We went to their local spot. So shout out to Ponga and his wife. Very lovely hosts. They have a lovely fur family. No human children yet. Maybe someday, who knows? Maybe someday they'll bring forth some more Pokemon trainers for the world. But they have 3 awesome cats. They have an awesome dog, little puppy that's pretty wild and crazy. She was a blast. But yeah, they showed us around town. They actually treated us to an amazing dinner at their local favorite spot. The pizza was fantastic. We hit the pizza again at like 2 a.m. after several IPAs. We hung out. We watched the Dodgers win a game. We toured his house. It was a good time. We pretty much just hung out. It was a really good time though. Friday night, that's what we did. We went out into town, went to a couple different little bars, and then went to their favorite pizza place. It was like an Italian place that had pizza, and that was S tier. That was really, really good. Bruschetta and pizza. And then he delivered us to the wedding venue at like noon. And pretty much from there, it was a really long ceremony. It was really long, but the ceremony was like 45 minutes. Not too bad. It was a long reception. It was a long party. And they had no IPAs. So I was drinking Maker's Mark and Cokes. I had way too many. If my wife is still listening to this live stream tonight, I apologize again. I have not got sick off drinking alcohol in a long, long time. I can't remember the last time. I got sick a lot. There might have been a 2 a.m. very lengthy shower where I was rethinking life decisions made earlier that day. I should have just gone with whatever non-IPA beer they had. I tried a couple. They were not very good. So I went with the Maker's Mark and Cokes and would not recommend. I'm going to stick with beer only at the wedding this weekend. But anyways, it was a great time seeing old friends from college, meeting and talking to some people that I went to college with but didn't even know that well and got to talk to them. But yeah, I picked this up from him at like noon that day. On his wedding day, like 4 hours before he got married, I picked up that sweet binder. So it was an exciting weekend. Seeing Ponga, going to the wedding, picking up a cool collection to consign for my buddy. Part of his wedding present, I gave him a nice cash card, all that stuff. But I'll probably be doing this one on the house. I'll be consigning at cost, optimizing. Some amount of this might go to the live stream. Some amount might go to Fanatics. Some might go to James on eBay. So yeah, excited to get through. And I'll do a video. Recapping that for sure. But yeah, I'm gonna take a quick peek at the live chat to see what they're talking about. Now it's a tier. Now it's A tier because you're on YouTube. I think I said everything was S tier that week. It was really good. Low S, high A. It was in the vicinity. I feel like calling it S tier based on talking about fast food is cheating, because like it was expensive for fast food. Arby's is expensive. I'm Arby's is good. My wife likes Arby's more than I do. Some people have really mixed takes on Arby's. But anyways, let me get back into the Pokemon Q&A. That was a quick recap of the weekend. Thank you, Ponga, for being such gracious host. Thank you, Mrs. Ponga. Thank you, all the Ponga pets. Awesome family they've got going on there. Awesome thing they got going on in Chicago. Was great visiting them. 100 people in a live at 11 p.m. I had 100 people in a live last week, so you know I had to do it again this week. What do you think about the Munch? I'm assuming this is the Munch promos. So years ago, I had 100 plus Eevees, Rowlets, and Psyducks. And I had dozens of Pikachus. And I had maybe 10 or 15 Mimikyus at one point. And I was selling $60 PSA 10 Pikachus. And I was selling $40 PSA 10 Eevees. And the Psyduck was always a little bit more because it was harder to grade. But I was selling those things when they were double digit in PSA 10. I was selling them and I was buying back the sealed. And I was selling them and buying back the sealed. I've always said I'd never miss when another one came out like that again. I did kind of miss this, but I did also recently buy an entire 400 count case with my buddy John, Pokemon Radar. But in PSA 10, it's like in PSA 10 to me, you did it. You like I always bought them sealed, graded the 10s and sold them and made money. And I plowed that back elsewhere. I like those cards. I like those cards in PSA 10. I think they're better than a lot of things, but I think they're worse than a lot of things. Generally speaking, if I am investing, if I'm tying up money for 5+ years, 2 to 5+ years in Pokemon, generally speaking, I like best Ultra Modern Sealed. I'm doing Ultra Modern Sealed by the palette. I have 6 figures in Ultra Modern Sealed, multiple 6 figures in Ultra Modern Sealed Pokemon. And if I had $10 million to throw around, maybe I'd put some into slabs. But like, I do have a handful of slabs in my PC. I have a handful of slabs in my PC long-term inventory, whatever you want to call it. But those ones don't fit for me. I think they could perform well over time, but I just think my money could be better used elsewhere. My money could be better used. My opportunity cost, filling all my traditional buckets, and then operating the business. I don't have enough leftover cash to leave them in PSA 10 Monk promos. Munch, whatever you want to call them. Ponga talking about my pronunciation has me has me thinking too much now. It is not the first edition Zard, but it is two first edition Charizard. So it's like I've still never seen they have an actual base first edition Charizard, but this was solid. No, I didn't even buy these. These are on consignment. I'm going to fully optimize, grade what needs to be graded, grade them where they need to be graded, sell them where they need to be sold, and I'm going to hook him up. Part of his wedding present, hopefully subsidize his honeymoon quite a bit. Appreciate you, Business RPG, trying to pump up that like number. Hey, we like big numbers. We like numbers going up and to the right. It's free. Click that little thumbs up. And you make numbers go up. The live viewership goes up. The algorithm does nice things, pushes it out. So I had an uncle who thought they'd pay off their house with what they found, and it was $350 of cards plus lots of bulk. Yeah. Yeah, Pocket Live. It's a wild time in Pokemon. Oh, I'm definitely... So my wife already took some of the Trick or Trade. I need to dig them up. I don't know where I put them, but she took some of the 2023 Trick or Trade. I'm going to also bring some of the 2024 Trick or Trade. I'm going to give some for her to give to everyone in her class at school. I should just bring like a case of them. Our school's so small, I could probably give one to every kid in the entire school. I think there's only like 400 or 500 kids in school. These packs are like 10-cent packs or whatever, wholesale. So it's like $40-50 I could give every kid in the whole school. Like, that's investing. That's investing in the future, right? First one's free. You got to give them a sample, and then I might have future buyers. So I will be bringing, I did it last year, I did it the year before, or as long as the trick or trades have been out. But I'll be bringing where we're going to my in-laws' house to do trick or treating on Thursday. I'll bring them some trick or trade packs so that they can add whatever candy. I'll have them add a pack or two of the trick or trades for sure. Gotta be getting the trick or trades out there into the world. I'll get your rates tattooed on me for Surging Sparks booster packs. He didn't say how many, so deal. I will do graciously. I could say I would do like 10 of them. I'll do 100 Surging Sparks booster packs if you get my rates tattooed on you. I know it took me a while to get to it, but I see you asked this like 5 times. If you can do like a stop sign, if you can do a queue out front to let me know that you have a question, it will help me get to them quicker. But I'm not positive. James has not told me the particulars of his deals. I've not asked. Presumably there would be an exclusivity thing. I would not expect to see James on Fanatics anytime soon. I appreciate you, Michael Duck. Hopefully people find education, entertainment, something. Hopefully people find something useful here. I try to just show and talk about the reasons why I do what I do, and hopefully that provides something useful to you. Paldean Fates Shiny Zard close to 140. Is TCG near mint the best option to get cards in grading worthy condition? So I'm 26 minutes behind, Ethan. Hopefully you're still here. TCG Player near mint is nice to get a lot of one card. The bad thing about TCG Player is that you're blind buying. Very few of them have photos. So if you have the time, go to your LGS. In person, in hand is the best way, hands down, because you can pre-grade it fully yourself. At a convention, at an LGS, trading with your buddies, whatever it may be, if you can get that card in your hands before you buy it, if you get to look at it before you buy it, only buy the ones that will 10. Only buy the ones you will have no cast asides, you will have nothing to get rid of that is not grade worthy. So TCG Player near mint is nowhere near the best if you can get it in hand, but a lot of times it's the easiest. It's the easiest and it's the most scalable. I can click a few buttons and I can get 50 copies of a card. If I go to a show, I might have to spend an hour walking around, and I might have to scatter shot. I might have to know 100 different cards that I'm targeting to come up with 100 total cards to buy. TCG Player, I can use Graded Edge. I can find 10 cards to target, and I can buy 50 of each of them. I might have, for some of them, 20 that aren't grade worthy. I might have 30 that aren't grade worthy for this one, and you have to have an outlet. You have to dump them back on TCG Player, or you have to sell them in a live stream, or whatever it may be. But you do have to have outlets for your grading misses if you are buying ones that aren't gradable. So, have you ever consigned from Canada? Is it an easy process? Not planning on selling for some time, but want to support you when I do. Absolutely. So I have consigners, both formally for eBay, eBay Vault, eBay Buy It Now consignments. I have consigners for Fanatics everywhere in the world. I have big ones from Australia, from the EU, from Great Britain, from Japan, like all over. Anywhere I can pay out in any currency, any major currency you like, I guess. I don't know if I can pay out in like Zimbabwean dollars or anything, but I've paid out in GBP, Australian dollars, Canadian dollars. I pay out in crypto. I pay out ACH, wire. I pay out via check. I pay out PayPal friends and family. I pay out Zelle. Lots of different payment options. Like, feel free to hit me up if you are ever interested. Even if you don't want to consign today, even if you want to, like, I'm very big on in investing, even in collecting. You need to know your way out. And a lot of people have never sold before. One great thing about today that wasn't the case 5-10 years ago. One great thing about today, there are so many outlets where you don't have to do the work yourself. You send it to Fanatics, and you get better than you would working with Fanatics directly, working through me. You don't do any of it yourself. You just collect a check at the end. Same thing with James, ZNG Emporium on eBay. You send it to him. A couple weeks later, few weeks later, depending on if they pay the first go around, whatever it may be. Same thing, Fanatics, same thing, eBay. Sometimes they go unpaid, yada, yada, all that stuff. But like, you don't have to do the work yourself. You don't have to take the risk yourself. Like, there's a risk things get lost in fully insured process. Same way mine is, James is as well. I know, I guess I shouldn't speak where I'm not 100% sure. I think if you have a really large one and you want to reach out to James, he probably would provide you a label. I know when I ship to James, I'm insured through my business insurance. I know when people ship to me, this is one thing I'll have to clarify with James before I start pumping his service too much. When people ship to me their cards to consign with me, those are fully insured on the way. I had someone lose a $13,000 package on the way in from Austria, and I paid out the full shot. I had to pay the deductible. I had to eat that, which wasn't super fun. But yeah, I'm fully insured on the way in, even for consigned items. I'd have to verify with James if that's the case with him too. But I do know we have the same company. We have the same insurer. But you always need to be careful to the letter of your policy, exactly all the things you add and remove. And so I want to be careful before I wide open say that. But yeah, James is the big banker putting the little humble fisherman out of business. But it was inevitable. It was inevitable on a long enough timeline that I was either going to, one was going to have to go. Because it's like if I got the eBay thing myself, exclusivity would have required I drop Fanatics. So it's like one had to go. I've got a close friend who gets me one side of it. I can do the cheap stuff on eBay myself still with 2% ad rates, 10% above market. And then, yeah, I get the best of both worlds. I get the best of both worlds. Because one thing, and I kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier, but I guess I'll go a little bit deeper into it. Let me quickly shout too. Let me quickly shout some of the homies in chat. We've got Mr. Raymond, Shining Cards and Collectibles. Appreciate you very much, gifting 10. We've also got Mr. Zach, Gem and Pokemon, gifting 10. So very much appreciate those 20 people who got new memberships. Enjoy your 99-cent free emojis that you've got now from Ray and Zach. But one thing that I am big on, I'm big on setting smart goals and doing things every day that bring you towards those. One of my huge goals is financial independence. I don't plan on financial independence, retire early. I don't plan on just like, say the market crushes it for the next 3 years. There's a solid chance in the next 3 years, my family could hit our FI number. We could be like fully financially independent. No need to make more money in the future. Like that's actually within the realm of possibility. If Pokemon keeps going, if the stock market, if crypto, if everything that we have some amount of money in keeps going bonkers, which to be fair, like I don't think the odds are amazing. They go as crazy as they are this year. But if everything did, financial independence is on the horizon. And the part of the business that I like the most, I like the conventions. I like sourcing. I like buying. I like making content. I like these live Q&As. I like Poke Flips. I like, not all of it, but a little bit, like making Instagram reels and stuff. A lot of times I do it for my long form, but sometimes I do just other ideas directly recorded for short form content. But I want to transition into more freedom on my day-to-day schedule. My wife is a teacher. My children are in school. Every spring break, every midwinter recess, every summer, if I have the ability to be able to just send an extra box to James, send an extra box to Fanatics, send an extra box to PK, to Ponga, and maybe a couple evenings while I'm gone that week. Maybe we're on a Disney cruise. Maybe we're at Disney. Maybe we're going Yellowstone. Whatever we're doing. If I'm able to just spend an hour or two a day on my phone or on my laptop sourcing, spending 50 grand on eBay, 50 grand on Fanatics, Rare Candy, Heritage, Golden, Fanatics, all these different places. If I'm able to just buy on my own time and then manage where I send it all to, and then the sales part of it is more like passive, still not truly passive, but if it's more passive, that's a very attractive business model. Maybe it will all crash and burn. Maybe it won't go amazingly. Maybe I'm envisioning a way too optimistic, way too like rainbow and sunshine future. But like the allure of that is very high. There are other things too. I've been doing Pokemon full-time for 3 years. I did chemical engineering full-time for 10. I don't think I'll ever go back to chemical engineering. Not because I didn't like it, but because I could technically do consulting in it. I think it would be hard with a 3-year gap in my resume. But I don't want to work for someone else. Most jobs in chemical engineering, I would have to work for someone else. I'm not going to open my own chemical plant. I'm not going to do anything crazy like that. But there's other things. There's other things that I might do someday down the line. There's a lot of different things that some that I'm thinking of right now, some that I have no idea what they might even be. So having myself be more poised to potentially take advantage of, I mean, 3 years ago, I quit my job to take advantage of this wave, ride this opportunity. I might be riding it another 25 years. I might be riding it another 5 years. And then we might go into a 2004 to 2008, similar like downturn. Who knows? Nobody really knows. People can speculate. People can say why it's different. And I don't think we will. I don't think we are anytime soon. But it's a possibility. So having that like built in where I'm just more free, can look at other things if opportunities come up, like really attractive. I think one of the best things that I do is sourcing. So if I just focus more towards shifting to that, not packing up orders, not utilizing my time, packing up orders that I could functionally pay someone else to do, I like the idea of it. So we'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes. I listen to YouTube more than I watch, so I did not notice James's vest, but I'm sure it was amazing. Guy's ballin'. Thoughts about _ retrospects on Instagram and his great service. Great service. I actually had somebody DM me today, like, hey, what do you think about this retro? I'm trying to set up a big deal with him. I said full send, like fully trusted. And this is like talk versus walk. So one thing that scares me, and it'll be like kind of a little funny story, and it'll be like talk versus walk. So I have sent retro. So don't just say like one thing, vouch culture. I don't know if that makes sense, but like vouch culture. Oh, well, the guy has like 5 vouchers on a Facebook group, or the guy has 5 vouchers on his Instagram. It's like, what does that even mean? I've had people DM me like, hey, would you vouch for this guy? I saw that he bought something from you on eBay 2 years ago. And it's like, he bought something from me on eBay 2 years ago. If I look back, it's like, oh, he bought a $50 card. He paid. I shipped it. He left positive feedback. Like, I vouch that transaction happened. But what does that mean? Are you gonna, like, can you vouch for this guy? Are you sending him 50 grand? Friends and family, and trusting that he's gonna do something and not like skip town? I'm not gonna vouch on that. With retro though, I literally sent retro $50,000 that he could have just flew out of the country, ghosted me, and I would have had little to no recourse. So I would just tell you what I do with retro, and I would let you decide what to do from there. I think me telling you what I do, you shouldn't necessarily one-to-one replicate it. I'm not saying that. Same thing I always say on my YouTube channel. Because I do it does not mean you should do it or anyone should do it. But like, I think more than vouching for someone, I know it's like a rant that makes almost no sense from what the comment was, but like, I think his service is amazing. And I would not only vouch for it, I would say that like I have fronted him, I've sent him multi 5 figures, and I've always been very happy with the service, very happy with everything that's come from that. So the vouch thing is just so funny. It's like the dude bought, this is not retro, this is just some hypothetical thing that I've run into before. I've had people DM me on Discord like, hey, I saw you 3 years ago in this Discord. You sent a message to this guy that you sent him a DM and you were going to buy something from him. Do you vouch for him? Yes, I used PayPal goods and services 3 years ago to buy a $50 card from that guy. And like, what are we... The whole vouch thing is just scary because it's like context. As I always say, context matters, nuance. Like, give me all the nitty-gritty details. I'm a detail-oriented person. I don't want to vouch. I want to know, like, vouch for Ponga. The dude had me over to his house. Nice house, nice family, nice, like, awesome guy. I've sent multi 5 figures worth of stuff to Ponga, and he's not stolen it all from me. So, like, great guy, big vouch for Ponga, too. Gotta love just a random rant in the middle of a thing, triggered by nothing. You never know when they're gonna happen. How profitable has grading and selling cards been for you? I keep getting people telling me not to do it. So I will make a graded edge review video. It should be not this Monday. That will be the pallet 6-month return video. It will be a week after that. Well, I say unfortunately. I was going to say unfortunately. Fortunately, the market's going bonkers. A ton of the raw card prices that I bought to grade have gone up a ton. So like, I'm going to make a lot more money than I should have because the underlying prices have skyrocketed. But like one thing I'll do is I'll separate it. So I'll look at graded edge. I'll look at prices from 2 months ago when I bought the cards. And I'll look at, with my 10 rate, what I should have made in a flat, stable market. And I'll show you the actual information. I'll show you. I made a video almost a year and a third ago. What was it? It was, no, a little over a year ago. September, I want to say. I bought 100 Celebrations Charizards on TCG Player. 25 of them I didn't grade. This many I graded at PSA. This many I graded at CGC. This many I graded at BGS. I showed you exactly how much money I made. Exactly how much money I made. So it's like people will talk about, oh, well, you shouldn't do it. Why shouldn't I do it? Give me the context. Why are these people telling you shouldn't do it? I am telling you I'm doing it with great success. I'm telling you there's a lot of people out there doing it with pretty solid success. So like, walk the walk, and then I'll take pictures of my journey. I'll take some videos. I'll detail my journey. You watch my walk if you want to, or don't watch it if you don't want to, and let that speak for itself. That's what I'm big on. That's what I'm big on, and that's what I try to do. Is the emergency your haircut? Oh God. The Graded Edge is a website that is accessible through the Pokenomics Patreon. It will be in the future. It might have its own membership. It might always be tied to the Pokenomics Patreon. Will is the owner of Graded Edge. He has his own Discord, but as of right now, it's tied to the Pokenomics Patreon. It's a great website for showing you like the profitability of a graded card play. And let me see. So let me find. So I can't show the whole thing because I've been asked by the owner, and it's paywall specific. But yeah, let me show you one random card. Actually, not a random card. Let me show you the card that I always show. Charizard from Celebrations. It's a website that just compiles a bunch of information that would otherwise take you more time to compile. Here we go. So it shows you what the 9 prices. It shows you what the 9% is, PSA Pop Report. It shows you how much, and you can change how much grading costs, shipping, how much the raw card costs. It shows you the expected profit. So the expected profit for every near mint Celebration Charizard you buy is $35 because you make 65 on a 10 and you lose 20 on a 9 and you lose 30 on a non-gradable one. But the important but is that you need to change these numbers to reflect, like say you go to an LGS and you buy ones that you grade 80% 10s. You can change that. If you're going to get 80% 10s and 20% 9s and you're always going to grade everything and you're never going to grade 8s, it's more profitable. So this website quickly allows you to see how many are selling in the past week, the liquidity, a lot of very important, very useful information for someone trying to flip graded cards is all compiled into one space. Can you get all that information for free yourself? Absolutely. But for the Patreon, for $10 a month, the Pokenomics Patreon, there's a decent amount of value having those quickly put in front of you in a very palatable, very quickly to access thing. But willing to leak Fanatics live numbers for human interaction. Van Gogh Pikachu are vastly outperforming the Metazoo Dan promos. Let's see. No beard Dan with the fresh cut would be too hot to handle. You are an adult man. Having a clean face is for children. I agree. Oh, the set after surging. The set after surging. Let me see. I think the next one after surging is going to be, I don't know. Will there be an 8.5 or will we get number 9? I genuinely don't even know. Sorry, Pokemartin. Oh, next set is a specialty set based around hats and EVs. So Terrestrial Festival must be the 8.5 set. I didn't know if that was 8.5 or 9.5, but let's see. Grimer kinda misses Ponga. Steven Holm just had 25 out of 26 PSA 10s. So PSA's grading 96% PSA 10 rate. So you love to see it. Grimer, 95 out of 26 PSA 10s. So PSA's grading 96% PSA 10 rate. So PSA's grading 96% PSA 10 rate. So you love to see it. Grimer, 95 out of 26 PSA 10s. So PSA's grading 96% PSA 10 rate. So you love to see it. Grimer got 4 pie pumpkins for 50 cents each. Awesome. So it's not just Dan that wins constantly. His whole family just wins disgusting. Oh, man. You are a winner. You are a winner in all of our books, Mason. I did not realize that Pokemon Pocket was releasing tonight. I probably will download it. I'll probably download it. I'll probably rip my free packs. Like, I play Pokemon Go pretty much every day. So just like I have a daily routine of opening Pokemon Go, spinning a stop when I go to the post office, catching a couple Pokemon here or there, sending some gifts. I'll probably add a few minutes to my daily Pokemon routines. I'll probably add it on my kids' phones. No, my 4 and 6-year-old children do not have like their own cell phones with their own cell phone plans. They have cell phones that are explicitly for when we play Pokemon Go as a family, and when we brush teeth, they have Pokemon Smile on their phones. So I probably will get them free accounts with Pokemon Pocket so that they can add a couple minutes to their daily routine. I know it's not great to have too much phones going on, but like the brushing teeth thing is really good. Pokemon Go rating. We rated Darkrai today as a family. I was the only one who caught it. But bonding around Pokemon as a family, very bullish on all that stuff. Groom turned cardboard into a honeymoon. God bless the hobby. Dan, it's come a long way from the barn wedding. If I got married tomorrow, if I got married this weekend, I would have a barn wedding again. Actually, some of my buddies that were at the wedding, they're like, we still talk about your wedding on occasion. Like, good food, good music, good people, good alcohol. That's what you need for a good time. I don't regret whatsoever getting married in a barn. I got married for about $6,000. I did a honeymoon for about $6,000. We paid for it all. I've been to weddings that were $600. I've been to weddings that were $100,000. And the amount of fun that I've had at weddings was never correlated. It's not directly correlated to the amount of money spent. Some of my favorite weddings were nearly or more than 6 figures. Some of my least favorite ones were nearly or more than 6 figures as well. It's always just like, how's the music? How's the vibes? How's the people? How's the food? All that stuff. So, yeah, I would do that all over again for sure. Dude can't pronounce anything. I did get the, oh yeah, I'm 30 minutes behind, so I'm talking about the beef sandwich that I did have gravy on, yes. I'm going to try to catch up. Dan gets the Chicago and the guy just throws him back. No rules for this, man. We did have a lot of IPAs at Ponga's too, but like I can do beer all day long. The second you start getting hard stuff, it's rough. My meal was $12. You just fancy. It was the cheese. The cheese was big worth though. And the onion rings. I got onion rings that split with the wife. She had like 2 and I had the rest. I'm doing that thing where like I talk about the same thing every 30 minutes because that's how far I am behind live chat. I apologize, but I'm trying my best. I'm not built to have 100 live viewers. I'm basking in it while I have it, but I'm pretty bad at it. I'm pretty bad at it, clearly. I need to look at something really quickly because I see something in chat that I'm interested on. So Steve's Collectible says Charlie H interview about MZ expected this Friday. Probably not a lot of MZ fans here, but I'm hyped to hear what he has to say. So Steve's Collectibles, I'm sorry I'm 30 minutes late, but if you are still here, where did you see something about that? Where is he having the interview? Where did you hear about it? I'm interested because I do not, let me see if I can find it. I don't see anything scheduled, but I'm interested to hear you follow up on that. Are there any cards in Celebrations beside the Charizard, Mew, and Umbreon that are worth grading? I have at least 50 Full Art Pikachus. The Full Art Pikachus are very hard to grade. The Classic Collection is very easy to grade. But there's a few cards worth grading. I'm not going to spill the whole graded edge plays, but like that one's got a very good ROI, as long as you pre-grade well. There's a couple other ones. But The big three. Blastoise is good too. I see Steve's Collectibles still in here. Hopefully he'll let us know soon where he heard about a Charlie H interview about Metazoo expected this Friday. Please let us know. If you have some information, I might have some information I could share as well. Or some thoughts about that, but... how's it going, Zard Lurking? Why is Dan streaming? I'm looking at the live chat now, Brad G Cards. Brad, there's 130 viewers here. That's why I'm streaming. No, it's an exciting week. It's an exciting week. I had a lot to talk about, so I wanted to go live. I've already talked about the wedding last weekend, wedding coming this weekend, big consignment update that I will make a formal video about in the future. But and then yeah, the graded gem video coming up. There's a lot of stuff going on. Let's see. Castle Strong says, Dan, I'm Castillo Collectibles on Fanatics. Appreciate all your support. I've seen your name a bunch. Thanks for helping get my order to me. I've had a ticket open with them for almost 3 weeks to fix my address. So I've heard, I've not dealt with Fanatics customer support myself directly, but I've heard good things. I've heard good things. This is a bad thing. If it takes you 3 weeks to fix your address, that's obviously a bad thing. But I've heard that people have had things done pretty quickly. I heard that some people missed the 25. They had Fanatics go back and add that in, and they were pretty prompt with doing it. So hopefully more of that. Hopefully more of them getting back to people quickly. Sorry to hear that they have been slow with that. The wife would prefer I be clean shaven, short hair, run the 2, shave that cleanly, but I'm not feeling it. I think the Team Rocket set. So someone was just saying earlier the Eevee set is a specialty set. Presumably, is the Rocket our spring specialty set? I don't really know. I thought one of them would have been a main set, but I genuinely have no idea. Brad says, blah, blah, blah. You went live to show your haircut off. Oh, man, that's funny. Surging Sparks is starting to sell out in Australia with 1.5 weeks to go before release. Thanks, Ponga, for stopping in. Would you recommend using consignment over making your own eBay store and building it up? ZNG looks tempting, but I mainly have $50 to $800 slabs. So again, it's like, what did I actually do? So I did 1.3 million last year on eBay. I did over 1 million this year on my own eBay. So I've built up my eBay over the past 20 years. And talk versus walk, I'm sending cards to James. I'm doing some amount of cards myself. Next year, if I had to guess, I'll probably do multi-6 figures on eBay myself. And I'll do multi-6 figures on eBay next year through James. So it's like, I was very much, if you had asked me a few years ago, if you went on the first couple episodes of Poke Flips, Nick and I always talked about building up our brand, building up our name. There is value to that. I'm doing my own consignments because of that, but you can build up your own name and brand with a YouTube channel, with an Instagram. You don't necessarily need eBay sales to do it. So I'm back and forth on it, but like 99.99% of people will never get there. 99.99% of people will never get contracted with eBay. I'm telling you right now that I did 1 million this year. I did 1 million last year, and I'm sending my stuff to James. So like that tells you more than anything else, I think. Raised packing some streams. Let's see. Cheers, Dan. Yeah, I've never sold, only bought for the last 7 to 8 years. Wow. So you must have a lot of stuff going on. So Julia says, I'm gonna try to be better about being both live and being timely with like answering things. So Julia says Eevee's a specialty set. Yes, I think Rocket will be a regular set. Grimer also says it's 2 sets later. It's probably not a specialty set. Did Walrus delete his Instagram? I don't know. Let me see if I see it. I don't think Mr. Walrus would have deleted his Instagram. It's Walrus Tank, right? I don't know. I'm not seeing it right now. Maybe he got banned. Oh, okay. So Steve's Collectible says Nick's strength in Pokemon was reached out by either GameCubator or Charlie himself. In Nick's live stream, Nick said that they have an interview scheduled for Friday the 1st, but he said he was a little late on submitting the questions because he wanted to hear from the community first. So that's why I say expected. If not Friday, it will probably be a week or so later is my guess. So I had heard that that was going to be happening. I am very excited for the Charlie Herlocker / Nick Strength in Pokemon live stream. I have not been saying much about Metazoo because I don't have much to say right now. I will have more to say in the future, but I would point anyone who is excited about the future of Metazoo to go hear from Charlie himself. Publicly, Nick Strength in Pokemon reported on it. He's kind of at the forefront of all the live streams talking about everything, but Charlie was the one who had his name signed on all the documents and stuff for the purchase. GameCubator Labs, ties, all that stuff. Very exciting to hear what Charlie has to say about the future. So tune in if you're interested. And if not, we're here live talking about Pokemon. I will not talk much more about Metazoo. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that myself. I had heard about that myself. So it's glad to see that it's actually going to come through. Let's see. I'm at the points where people gifted. Ray and Zach gifted. Thank you again for those. Ray is awesome. Zach is handsome. Both are very true. Question. If Ponga and PK keep doing well with streaming for you and making more money, would you take a break from cons, maybe using your time elsewhere, or do both? So I think I will continue to go to multiple conventions every year. I really enjoy them. I think they're good for business, networking, all that good stuff. They're good for sourcing. Where'd I put it? Somewhere very close to me. Oh, it's right here. Somewhere very close to me is 48. Well, I think I hadn't been saying the number. $50,000 approximately worth of gray felt hat Pikachus. And that was a deal. It probably didn't have to be done in person, but a lot of deals in that vicinity, I don't know exactly why, but a lot of people really value $100 bills in cash versus getting a wire of that level, versus getting an ACH, versus getting whatever it may be. So I will probably continue to go to a few conventions a year. I might do, and I know James has talked about potentially doing this with his eBay Live consignment service. I might start going in more vocally, more talk about like taking in consignments for Fanatics Collect. I might do that more. I might buy a table, have no slabs on it whatsoever. I might bring a bunch of money, have a bunch of money in my PayPal, have a bunch of money in my Venmo, have a bunch of money in my Cash App. Just be liquid and be ready to buy. I might just buy, bring in consignments. I might have a table. I might pay somebody to run that table. Who knows? But I will definitely be going to a few conventions a year. I am very unlikely to be vending entirely myself, though. I will likely bring or send a handful of things to Pong or to PK or to whoever wants to throw some of my stuff in their thing, consign it, throw them a little bit of money to offset their weekend. But I don't think I'll be fully fledged vending any Collecticon in 2025. Could change though. Thank you, Chex. Sorry I had missed this, but Chex gifted 10 not too long after Ray and Zach had, so I appreciate you guys. Yeah, Trainer Max is doing a very similar thing. I know of many people who can sign with me through Fanatics actively today and likely will in the future. They can sign with James too. I know of so many people that can sign with me, can sign with James. Sometimes they have stuff that's best for Heritage. Sometimes they have stuff that's best for Golden. I know so many like whales in the hobby. They might have an Instagram. A lot of them, some of them have a YouTube, some of them don't. But like there are so many people doing Pokemon at such a high level. I'm talking like high 6 figures, maybe even multi 7 figures in a year. And they're not doing any of it themselves. They're not packing a single like end consumer order. Yes, they're packing up a 200 card submission and sending it to James or to me or to whoever. But they're not sending this one card to John Doe, the end consumer. They're sending large amounts and they're doing things all through consigners at a very high level. And Max says right here he's doing that too. Max is consigned with me. I'm pretty sure Max is consigned with James. I don't think he'll mind mentioning that. He's been at conventions, he's been buying, he's consigned stuff with me. Like he's doing things at quite a high level in Pokemon, just fully digital nomad. It's got huge value, huge value. Boy, do I hear that, Dan. Been packing a few hours. Maybe one day Dan will learn to keep up with chat. Hey, when I only have 40 viewers, like I did like 2 weeks ago, I keep right up with chat. But even then, sometimes I fall behind. I try my best, though. First Instagram deal I did, peak boom. Guy had set up fake accounts to vouch for himself, and I got scammed. That's funny. I did pack some of the original live stream things that I sold. I still do pack 5 to 10 orders a day approximately. But why do you send some cards to CGC over PSA? When do you decide which company you pick? So usually it's an example of like Porque no los dos or Porque no los tres. I have 400 gray felt hat Pikachus. I want them in every flavor. If you run the numbers, if you run the EV, if you check the math, a lot of times every company is profitable. So when I have like, let me just grab a random stack at my feet here in this shoebox. I was listening before I went live. If I have 20 Tapu Koko PSA 10s or whatever this is, that was one of the cards that I bought a bunch of that'll be talked about on Graded Edge. But if I have this many in PSA 10, to some extent, you get to where you're competing against yourself, you're limiting yourself. But if I spread it out, if I YOLO for a black label, if I go for a CGC Pristine 10, I just dropped those. I don't think any cracked because they just fell. Well, some of them fell on the dog bed, so the other ones just fell on top of the other slabs. But it's like, it's just another way to make more money in the same card without as directly competing with yourself. So it's like, why not grade with all of them? Many modern cards, the CGC Pristine 10, though it's harder to get, earns a premium. Black labels earn an absurd premium. So that's why I spread it around, because it's like I have so many. You can source 100 of these, gem mint worthy, grade worthy. So just send them a little bit everywhere. That's always my take. I recently got my childhood friend back into the hobby, told him to look at his collection, and he had a bunch of Arabian Nights and a lot of first edition Poke, all heavily played, but he was shocked still. That's awesome. A first edition Lugia half bent. I'm only 15 minutes behind. Ethan is currently multitasking and playing Pocket. Let's hear that Zoo News. Zoo News tune into Nick Strength of Pokemon. He will be having Charlie Herlucker on, which I'm very excited for. Dan, rate my packing job. I think I recycled the box already. Or no, is it right? Yeah, the box is already gone. But the side of the box, it wasn't like completely torn through. But I just got like 6 PSA subs back in the past week. One of them, the side was like blown out, but the post office had thrown tape over it. They put a sticker on it that said "received damage." Thankfully, nothing had fallen out of it. But your box was similar. Your box, the side had been like punched in, no damage to anything. So you packed it well. The box was not treated well, but you packed it well. No issues. There will be videos on the gray felt hat Pikachus. I did send some misses sealed to PK and Ponga. I didn't send any to you yet, but I might send some. I guess I should send some to TCG Player. I didn't even think about it for that card, but I will send some to you. Let me see what the gray felt hat is doing. I mean, John and I got fairly lucky. Yeah, low list is 150. I can make that work. John and I got lucky, just like I did with all the Graded Edge plays, in that a lot of the cards have gone up since the time that we bought them. but I sent out maybe, I'll do a full video to recap how it's all gone. I've sent like 100 out for grading, PSA, CGC, BGS. I don't have any results yet, so I don't have any actual grades yet. But just the fact that the cards have gone up 20% raw, sealed, we're gonna do pretty well. I think we're gonna do pretty well. How much for those non-gradable gray felt hats? Probably 150. Probably 150 on TCG Player, 150 on eBay. Slight promotion. Did you get rid of most of your Metazoo? Do you still have any grails? So I didn't do any major buying or selling. I will detail more in the future, but I didn't do any major buying or selling of Metazoo product in the past several months. I have a lot of singles. I have a lot of the sealed decks. Check out my eBay, search Metazoo. There's hundreds of listings. I did sell some extra cases that I had. I kept like 4 cases of every set. Sadly, I don't have 4 cases of Kickstarter. Sadly, I don't have 4 cases of Cryptid Nation First Edition. But I pretty much have 4 sealed cases of every set. And I sold down to where I had that. I don't have many boxes left on eBay. That's where I had been selling them. But I do have some loose pack lots. I think I do have a bunch of different promos, a bunch of different set cards. But no, I still have my token holder set cards. I still have a lot of serialized Metazoo. Not a lot. I have a handful. I never had a crazy amount, but anything that I showed several months ago, I probably still have. I have a lot of the Rudy promos. I have a lot of different Metazoo cards still. Just buying at a table is the play. I don't have enough. I'm too broke to vend is what I'm saying. If you're hearing it right. I'm too broke to vend. Too broke with both time and money. I don't have enough money or time to source enough to vend alongside 2 live streamers, alongside some on my own eBay, alongside a lot on Fanatics, alongside a fair bit on my own eBay. Like, I have a lot of ways to sell. But I guess I need to step up my sourcing game. Maybe I need to hire an independent contractor sourcer, which to some extent I do, right? Like I buy through Retro. Retro's a business who makes some amount of margin selling to me, right? So I do. Like I bought I bought a collection off Brad. Well, I bought like unsold Chicago inventory off Brad G cards. I bought off Spat. I bought off Java. I bought off our friend Pooping Turtle 69. I have been buying a lot the past couple weeks. PK and Ponga have been selling a lot more. Primarily PK. Man's live every night, it seems like. He's live as well. He's probably done. He's probably done for the night right now. But he's definitely surprised me with how much he's been living. He already has tonight scheduled for 8:30 p.m. He was live tonight for 3 hours, and he sold almost $3,000 worth of stuff. So like PK sold $1,000 an hour worth of stuff tonight, which you love to see. And I gotta keep him fed. I gotta keep him and PK fed. I gotta keep them churning, keep things rolling. Right now, I'm not even making a ton of money. Some of it I'm selling backlog. Some of it I'm selling cards that are hard to sell elsewhere. That's one great benefit of live streaming. I'm selling cards that are selling better than elsewhere. But one bigger thing for live streaming. So on eBay, a following matters, feedback matters to some extent, but with that you can pay to play. With that you can pay for a promoted listing, and you can do better than a non-promoted listing of someone that has 10,000 feedback. There's kind of a way to pay your way to the top of the search results on eBay. Whereas with live selling, Fanatics, Whatnot, Drip, eBay Live, whatever one you're looking at, you need to build a following over time. And once you do, Pokeflips, we just had Master Set Games on recently. I think Master Set Games is going to be the Pokenomics Patreon special guest as well in November, which I'm excited for too. Had a great chat with Sam for a few hours last week on Pokeflips, and or a week and a half ago, whenever that was. And I look forward to talking with him again. But he is crushing it. He's doing Whatnot at such a high level. The numbers that he is putting through there. I don't think Fanatics or eBay are built out enough yet to be able to put that through there. But that happened due to months and months and years of people like being there live, having inventory, having things for people, customers to come in, whatnot, building out a great platform, whatnot, having all the affiliate stuff, giving people free money to come try out the platform, and then some amount of people stick. Like they're crushing it. So yeah, I need to really step up my sourcing game so that I can supply all these outlets that I have now. D-Town Relic says Surging Sparks is going to the moon. Hopefully I am fueling up the rocket ship. I've got my moon boots. I am ready. I'm ready for it. Max is indeed a beast. He ran down James at Chicago, can confirm. I sent cards to James at Chicago too. So I had Ponga. I sent a bunch to go with Ponga. And I said, I'm not taking any of this home. So whatever Ponga didn't sell for me at the convention, he took some amount to sell live, and then he sent the rest with James, because I wasn't even there Sunday in Chicago. So I didn't take anything home. I consigned some with James. I consigned some with Ponga live, and yeah. Would you consider taking cards in for consignment / for selling during lives at a Collecticon if I travel to the US for it and bring a lot of cards? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. One thing, and I understand it. Some people are very anti-shipping. I will say, as I said earlier in this live stream, I don't know if you were here then, but I had an inbound consignment from Austria. You have to add shipping to the package. You have to tell me in advance what the contents are, what the approximate value are. Like the more photos you have, all that stuff helps in the event of like worst case scenario, you need to do an insurance claim. But I'm insured to a high level. I had a 5-figure collection that was lost on the way to me for consignment. And I paid out a 5-figure sum to the Austrian consigner. And that's something that I've had. I will have that into the future. If I ever got rid of that, the only way I would ever get rid of that is if I got done doing high-level Pokemon selling and consigning. I have to have it to be able to sleep at night, to be able to consign high-end Pokemon cards. So yeah, like, if you wanted to, if you were open to it, you could ship it at any time. But absolutely, if once the 2025 schedule comes out, I will very likely target certain ones. I will very likely, as I have been in the past, be pretty public about like, hey, I'm going to try to do Chicago and Charlotte and New Jersey and whatever other ones work out. I'll probably be doing Card Party Pacific Northwest next year, the Seattle area, I believe that one is. But yeah, if you want to sell to me, if you want to consign with me, if you want to do anything at an event I'm at in person, I love prearranging deals to do things like that. It's part of what like that justifies the business travel, right? It works out well. So absolutely, for sure. And always feel free to email, reach out to set those things up in advance if you're interested. I've had, not too many times, but I've had multiple times still. I've had multiple times over the past few years, even pre pandemic. I've had people fly to my airport, or I've in tandem with like another vacation that I was doing, I've met people for like big deals in person. Some people on Instagram, some people on Reddit get kind of silly with it, like, oh my God, it's a $5,000 card. I'm going to buy a plane ticket and I'm going to fly and I'm going to hand that to someone in person. You know what's better than handing something to someone in person? That's actually one of the worst things you can do with an eBay sale. Send it to the authenticator. Add signature. Once the authenticator verifies it, you're golden. If you fly that thing to the person that bought it and they say they didn't get it, you have no documentation, no proof. Like, what are you going to take a video? You're going to have them show their ID, social security number, take their blood type. The amount of jewelry stores that ship multi 6 figures, 7 figures in jewelry and watches, and the company I used to work for, we shipped gold bullion every day with FedEx, with UPS, insured, signature acquired, certain things with like third-party carriers that were like exceptionally valuable. But like, some people overly fear shipping, especially when it's insured. I just wanted to cover all my bases on that rant about like USPS, UPS, FedEx. They're all a lot better than some people think they are. But do whatever is within your comfort level and all that stuff. Where you can have insurance, where you can be insured, absolutely do that. It's great. But like, buying it from the carrier oftentimes is really rough. The thing that I have, the thing that I know other people in the space have, it's amazing. It's an amazing service they have for us. Every time Dan focuses to read, I think the screen froze. Sorry for that. He's plugged into the PC just like OSP. How do you price out a black label card? So one thing that I hope I have to do in the future, I hope I have to put a value on a black label Pikachu. So as the seller, if I'm the seller, I want to get as much as I can, right? I want to get as much as I can. You can look at like comps to some extent. At the last time I looked, there's one black label gray felt hat. There are 2,000 graded with BGS. If I were to grade that, some of the first cards that I look at, and I don't know the values off the top of my head. I know the PSA 10 of this is 300-ish. And I know the Pristine 10 is 500-ish. I would look at like the screen promos. Okay, let's look at the screen Pikachu. PSA 10 is so many thousand. What's a black label? What's the multiplier? I would look at cards like the I sold 2 of them on consignment recently, and I know James sold 2 of them on consignment recently. The Shiny Treasure EX, the Chase Charizard from that set, that's like that's like $140, $150 PSA 10, and it's like a $4,000 black label. So some of the multipliers can be crazy. I think the gray felt hat would be closer to that multiplier, given that if I do black label one, it will only be pop 2. But like at the end of the day, if I think it should be worth 20 grand and no one wants to pay that, well, then it's not worth 20 grand. I would probably go I would go one of 2 ways. I would go a high buy it now and take offers, and I'd push it out on Instagram, and I'd push it out to the whales. I know some pretty high-end black label buyers. Some of them I've sold to directly. Some of them I'm just aware of people who collect them. So I'd put the feelers out. And another thing I might do is I might just say like, hey, I'd put the feelers out. I'd say, hey, all you black label whales, Fanatics Collect, this Thursday it goes live. Next Sunday it ends, 10-day auction. Boom, faith in the market. Our Arceus take the wheel. That's the way that I would lean towards wanting to go. Because with something that is that, not that black label, not that gray felt hat is inherently rare by itself, but as of today, there's only one black label. Hopefully in a couple weeks there'll be 2, and hopefully I'll be auctioning it on Fanatics. But like, it's all arbitrary. People ask like, what's it worth? It's worth what a buyer will take, what a buyer will pay, and what a seller will take. There's no multiplier. People want to know like, oh, well, is it 2x, 20x, 200x, 2000x? There's no multiplier. There's no percentage. You can't do it. I understand people wanting to do that, but you cannot do that. There's no such thing. There's no multiplier between a 9 and a 10. There's no multiplier between a PSA 10 and a black label. It can never happen. These things are all like arbitrarily priced. Equilibrium of supply and demand decided by the open market. So, and say that I graded one and I listed it for $1,000. I'm pretty tapped into the market. I know that the card would sell for significantly more than that. It should be worth a lot more than that. So if I list one for $1,000 and it insta sells, which I think it would, I would insta buy one if I saw one list for that. That doesn't mean it's worth 1,000. It could be worth significantly more than that. Like, all sales are data points. These are all rants that I've had in their own standalone videos. If you are enjoying this conversation tonight, I know there's a lot of new people here. 112, that's a lot more than I normally have. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. I don't ask for that very much, but if you enjoy what I'm saying tonight, I am the same way in my live streams as I am in my pre-recorded videos. I do pre-recorded videos on every Monday. I am doing multi-7 figures every year in Pokemon. Some amount consignments, some amount my own sales, live sales. I grade with PSA, I grade with BGS, I grade with CGC. I buy allocations for my distributors at a high level, multi-6 figures every year. And I just bring you on my journey. So if that is of any interest to you, like, please feel free to subscribe. If not, that's perfectly fine too. Had to do a little bit of self-promo with this many people watching. Question, you've answered this 1,000 times, Dan, but approximately how many cards are you grading each month? Thanks. So in September, I graded over 2,000 cards. Pretty near 3,000 cards, I want to say. On long-term average for the year, last year was weird because I was working nights. Last year was not representative. I think for 2025, and I need to have this conversation with PK, and I need to have this conversation with Ponga, how many cards a month you need. Some amount I'll be buying, some amount I'll be grading. If I had to speculate though, I think my long-term rate for 2025 will be approximately 50 to 100 cards a week. I think I'll be doing anywhere between maybe 250 to 500 cards a month, somewhere in that vicinity. 3,000 to 6,000 cards for the year. I know it's a big range, but like a lot of things are in flux. It'll depend on how many collections I buy. It'll depend on how many graded edge plays I do. It'll depend on how many cases of Gray Felt Hat Pikachu I buy and how many of those I have to grade. But if I had to guess, it would be in that vicinity, 250 to 500 a month. Ooh, I love to hear that, Sky. I love to hear that. We got him back into the hobby. Love to hear it. Love to hear it, Steve's Collectibles. Dan, do you believe in the conspiracy that smaller PSA subs have a higher 10 rate with smaller sub 25 to 50 or it doesn't matter? Doesn't matter. All these things, New Jersey versus California, 25 cards, 250 cards, whether you put WotC in front and then the alt arts are in the back, Japanese in front, alt arts in the, like framing your subs in a certain way. Just find raw, clean, nice cards that have a good margin, submit them. And PSA has hundreds of graders. What might work for Joe isn't going to work for Jim, and it's not going to work for Bob. Like, these games are not worth playing. You're getting lost in the sauce. You're looking at the wrong things. Optimize and work on the things that you can actually, like, that you can control and affect you. Some of these things might affect you if they're actually a thing, but consistently inconsistent. No grading company is consistent enough to have any of these rules, tinfoil hat theories work consistently because there's just too many different people. There's too many different moving parts. Like, who's to say, oh, well, I always put I know many people. I always put one junky card. Like, here's a CGC 8 Magmar EX. I always put one random mid-era EX that's like an 8 because it's bad looking. And then I put all my gray felt hats next. Because then it makes them more likely to round those up to a 10. Well, so let's live in this fantasy world that you live in. So you frame your submission to make your cards look better. Well, what happens when you do your small sub, 25 cards, because it has a better PSA 10 rate? What happens when the submission in front of you was all One Piece? What happens when the submission in front of you was all Dragon Ball Super? And it was a 200 card Dragon Ball Super submission and all 200 graded 10s. What happens when it's all old mid cards? What happens when PK's old maid submission makes it in front of your gray felt hats and the grader grades 100 old maids, PSA 10, and then you put your 10 mid-era cards in front, but their mind is still looking at those like black label quality, hot, like bulletproof Japanese cards, whatever they were, and then you get aided. Like, that's where things are silly. That's where the logic, the lack of logic breaks down. I don't buy any of it. I don't do any of it. It's not worth your time. It's not worth your time. That is my opinion. That is my opinion. People that have graded more than me are convinced some of these games are worth playing. But most people, I feel quite confident in saying this. Most people that grade more than me are above all those games, but I do know some that grade a lot more than me that are not above those games. Most people, though, who get lost in all those games, this is like a very educated opinion. I'm quite confident this is the case. Most people that stress about things like that grade significantly less than me. Most people that are worried about is Surging Sparks going to go to 180 or is it going to go to 140? Is it going to be reprinted? Most people that worry about those things are putting their valuable time into the wrong things. Like, go source an extra card. Don't think about this for 10 minutes, for 10 hours, a week, a month, a year, like whatever the rate is, whatever the frequency is. Buy more cards. Work where you have known information. That's my take. That's my take. That will always be my take. I found you through watching Rattle on YouTube trying to show people how to get discounts on some site called Fanatics or something. But yeah, one thing I'm a big fan of, affiliate links are great. Affiliate links are great because they cost you nothing. If you're buying something on eBay anyways, if you click my affiliate link below, it doesn't cost you any extra. It actually takes money from eBay and it gives it to me. Whether you use my eBay affiliate link or Old School Pokemons if he would ever make YouTube videos again, or TCA Gamings or ZNG Emporiums. Like, use affiliate links for whoever you want to support, because you're taking money from the big guy and you're putting it in the little guy's pocket, right? It's great. It's a win-win. It's a win-win. Well, no, it's a win. It's a win. You're supporting, no cost to you. The great thing about a Fanatics affiliate link, you can come and watch PK stream tomorrow night. Wednesday night, PK will be live at 8:30. Thursday night, I'm not sure exactly what time, but Ponga will be live on Fanatics Live. So if you're a new user to Fanatics, you sign up through my affiliate link, I get $25, you get $25 when you add your billing address and your payment method. $25 for free. Who doesn't want $25 for free? You do have to pay $5 shipping, and you do have to pay sales tax on shipping. But then if you use code KETCHUM20, you get $20 off your next item, or you get $20 off your first item, and then you use your $25 code. You get $45 in free stuff. If you're a PSA member, you have a $60 code in your email, or maybe a $125 code in your email. So one great thing about Fanatics Live is that they are in the mode of like acquiring new customers. So they're just throwing free money at you. They are encouraging me and Ponga and PK as the streamers to, like, it's a win-win. We're getting paid to get more people in to buy stuff from us, to buy stuff from Fanatics, and the people who are using it, some amount of people will become long-term customers. And I mean, if they're enjoying it, they'll stay, they'll have fun, entertainment, they'll get some amount of product, add to their collection, whatever it may be. But it's great to come in and just take the free money and go. Like, I can't blame someone who comes in one time, one stream ever, uses only their free credits, and then leaves forever. Like, that's perfectly fine. Do that if you want to. It's like a no-brainer, right? Very, very infrequently is there like a free lunch. I guess some amount of it, to be fair, you're giving them some amount of your data, but a lot of people are creating that account, buying one time, and then gone forever. And they know that. That's part of customer acquisition. That's part of it. Ray, you probably won't sell to me, will you? You got to sell through your live streams. Dan, you should put up a poll to see how people found you. What would the poll options be if I put up a poll to see how people found me? I guess just through subscription feed would be my normal people, and then it would be through the recommended, and then through like elsewhere. Just let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments, how did you find me? I appreciate you, Dylan Lee, though, getting in here through that video I did through Rattle. Where am I at now? Ray and Dan could be brothers. Thrifty's jumping. I don't know what I was talking about at the time. Thrifty is a go Tess. Dylan Lee says, Whatnot is predatory, though. Selling super FOMO and auction-style stuff without people having time to cross-check prices. Buy now. Come on, guys. This is one of a kind. Don't let them outbid you. So there are bad people on Whatnot. There are bad people on eBay. There are bad people on every selling platform that will ever exist. There are bad people on Facebook. There are bad people on your street, in your neighborhood. It's unfortunate, but it's a reality. Don't let the bad apples spoil the bunch. I am someone who is not even selling on Whatnot, and I think it gets too bad of a rap sometimes. I know there are some great people on there. I know Weedle's Warehouse does some stuff on there. He does some stuff on eBay Live as well. Shining Cards and Collectibles Ray does stuff on Whatnot. There are definitely good, honest people. Master Set Games. So Master Set Games is one that he was on PokeFlips a week or whatever ago. He doesn't do spin wheels. He doesn't do raffles. He doesn't do any of the like gambling edition, no mystery packs. He just sells cards. He puts a card out, it runs an auction, and it sells. Like, I think there's nothing wrong with people deciding to spend what they want to spend on it. Sometimes they pay over, sometimes they pay under, but like, it is what it is. If the person running the stream is getting into some of the sales tactics, like, oh, you got to bid now, bid quick, like FOMO, if they're trying to induce a lot of that, if it's part of the show, I don't know. I'm not the consumer for that, so I'm not in there. But like, I can speak for PK and Ponga. They're not doing any of that like upsell. They're not doing any mystery stuff. They're selling one-to-one what we have. And people are bidding what they want to bid, and then they're on to the next item. So they'll tell you a little bit about the history of the item, but they're not going to say like, oh, this one that Dan pre-graded and it isn't worth grading with PSA. This is a guaranteed black label. They're not doing any of that kind of stuff. And if people are, shame on them. That's bad. Don't support them. But go lower in the Whatnot feed. Scroll through other people. I'm sure you will find good, solid, honest, open communities on Whatnot, on Drip, on eBay Live, on Fanatics Live, all over the place. But some will be bad too, so you got to watch out. You absolutely have to watch out. Julia says, sorry, I wasn't here for the beginning of the live, but thank you. Shipping from my country is so expensive, I might as well send myself to the US and enjoy the experience. Yeah, I mean, I can't say no to that, right? Like, if you're going to make a trip out of it, if, I've heard of some, like, domestic, I've paid some crazy numbers for flights. I've paid, I guess, some crazy low numbers, and I've played some crazy high numbers too. But I know I've talked with Max, I've talked with some other people who've flown in from internationally, shockingly low at times. It's like, it might cost you $200-300 to ship a big box, and it might cost you only double that to like, but then you gotta add hotels, you gotta add, there's a lot to go with it. But if you can make a trip out of it and do some business too, like, that's always great. That's always great. Yeah, same thing with eBay, same thing with Fanatics, same thing with Whatnot, anywhere. Anytime you see a number, even if it's paid, doesn't mean it's always legitimate, doesn't mean it's always genuine, doesn't mean it's like what the price is. James made a great video earlier today. Everything is manipulation, I think it was called. And it's great that he can tell you when it was paid, but like, that doesn't mean it's actionable. That doesn't mean you can get it. That doesn't mean it wasn't just a one-off thing. And a lot of times you see the exceptional prices, you're not going to always get the person who sold it tell you whether it was paid or not. A lot of times they are unpaid, but like, I wish we'd get more transparency from the platforms themselves, but it is what it is. We got to deal with what we have, right? You can't cancel on Whatnot. You can only ask the streamer to cancel, which they usually don't. I have no idea how Whatnot works. I've bought very infrequently on it, and I've never tried to cancel anything. You have 7 days, go in and cancel. People do it to me all the time. How many singles do you run in one night auction? So I'll give a little, there will be a full-fledged video in the next couple months. Probably some amount of time. But so PK just ran tonight. I'll give you a little insider sneak peek for everyone hanging out right now. Almost 2 hours in this live stream. So PK ran for 3 hours. This says he had, it says 41 viewers. I don't think that's his peak. I think that might be his average, but I'm not entirely sure. So he averaged 41 viewers. He did 2,862 in sales. So he did nearly $1,000 an hour. He did pretty well. And I'm going to go look at how many unique orders that was. I need to make sure I don't accidentally do his shipping labels. But that looks like it was 94 unique orders. So he probably did, if I had to guess, he probably did 70 or 80 auctions. And then he had some amount of buy it nows, maybe some pack reps. But he did 94 orders in 3 hours. So he did a little over 30 orders an hour. To some that might be a little bit slower than they run. To some that might be a little bit faster than they run. But those are just the actual numbers from tonight's live streams. I will have a few months worth of data by the time I do the full, hey, here's how 3 months of live streaming has gone. So that's that's an insight into numbers from tonight though. What is one piece of advice you would give to a beginner? Beginner what? What are we doing? Are you a beginner collector, investor, flipper? Are you just, let me go very broad. A beginner engaging in the Pokemon hobby as a whole. I would say set a budget. Whether you are collecting, investing, flipping, figure out how much capital you have to allocate to this. Understand what your opportunity cost is. In any of those aspects, you always need to understand your opportunity cost. And set yourself a reasonable, sustainable budget. And breathe. Right now is a crazy time. Things are going nuts. Red lines, green lines, even on my own thumbnail. I don't do it as much, but I'm definitely in it right now doing it. Getting while the getting's good. But breathe. Take your time. Pokemon is not going anywhere. You might miss a set. You might miss a card. Gray felt hat might double overnight and it might run away from you. And maybe this one will never be reprinted. Maybe your budget for a single card is only ever going to be $20 and you can't have this one. or it's $200 and you can't have this one in the PSA 10, whatever it may be. I just said it earlier, like an hour ago, probably when I was on Pokemetrics. There are like 80,000 unique Pokemon cards. And some of them are duplicate artwork because they're in like 20 different languages, whatever it may be. But there are tons of options out there to do whatever it is you want to do. There are so many beautiful non-art things, so many fun things. Like, put yourself out there, create that Instagram, create that YouTube, create that Discord. My best enjoyment in the space is sharing it with other people, sharing it with my family, playing Pokemon Go with my family, playing Pokemon Pocket with my family, starting tomorrow probably. So engage with other people, share the joy amongst other people, makes it great, and just breathe, start slow in whatever endeavor you're taking, and there's time, there's plenty of time. Pokemon will be here 50 years from now. I don't know that I will be, I hope I will be, but I'm like as confident as I can be that Pokemon will be. I'm bullish on the long term of Pokemon. Zard Lurking says throw 2,500 worth of Pikas to BGS and hope 2 or 3 stick. See, and at some point in the future, I want to do it. Obviously, I would be biased towards Fanatics, but I want to do a more in-depth evaluation of Fanatics versus eBay. It's hard. It's hard to do it unbiased unless you have all the data. I need to reach out to somebody who can compile all the data for me, who can just scrape it all from wherever. But I lean towards on the high end, like 500 plus, especially 5,000 plus. I think Fanatics does a lot better, generally speaking. There will absolutely be exceptions. There will be the same day a Mario Pikachu sold for $500 more on eBay. But then if you look close, like maybe the eBay one was cleaner. Maybe that's why it did. Maybe it was worse. Maybe the Fanatics one was cleaner and it just did poorly that day. Auctions inherently have a lot of variance. And I think eBay and Fanatics are both great platforms to sell stuff. As I said earlier, I will be selling multi 6 figures through both of them next year. And I have this year as well. But trying to to say one is universally better, it's impossible to say. I will do my best in the future though, for my own benefit, to figure out how much I want to send to each, and then for the benefit of like making a video and just kind of showing it. And I have consigners who use James, who also use me, and they have certain things that like they just see a lot better results with Fanatics, so they send X, Y, and Z to me, and they send A, B, and C to James, or like maybe more to James, maybe more to me, depending on who they are, what they dabble in. But I personally think there's space for both. But yeah, black labels are one thing that I think do quite well at Fanatics. Let's see. The rich love to give me money for a black piece of paper, and I love it. Do you do any TCGs other than Pokemon? So like consigning, I will take anything Fanatics takes. I will take Magic. I will take Yu-Gi-Oh! I will take Lorcana. I will take sports. I will take all that. I specialize in Pokemon. My YouTube following is primarily Pokemon. My Instagram following is primarily Pokemon. So my like advertising abilities will excel the most in Pokemon for sure. But I think the platform does well on its own too. So if you send me high-end sports cards, high-end Yu-Gi-Oh cards, I think they will do as well as they would do on Fanatics by themselves anyways. But as far as like what do I buy from distributors, I do have a fair bit of One Piece that I buy from the distributor. I need to make a note to actually list a bunch of One Piece that I don't have listed anywhere tomorrow on eBay. But I do have a bunch of One Piece I get from distribution. Not a bunch, a lot less than Pokemon. In the past, I did do Metazoo. In the future, I do intend to carry Metazoo in the future. So stay tuned on all that. Pokemon will be 90+% though. I don't see that changing anytime soon. Lorcana is very profitable for me. I opened some. Shout out to Ivy. Shout out to her. She brought some to Charlotte, that was. And I opened a little bit in Charlotte there. I like Disney growing up. A lot of Disney movies I still like and watch today with the kids. And I'm not into the cards. Like I've tried. I bought that massive collection a couple years ago now that had Dragon Ball Super and Dragon Ball Z Score. And it had Yu-Gi-Oh, and it had all these different TCGs, Naruto, and none of them hit for me. None of them hit like Pokemon does. Trainer Max says, I don't agree with that price, but I think a gray hat Pikachu Black Label and a Pop 2 will end 20 to 50K in auction. I hope that's the case. I couldn't see it going below 10K. I'm a biased person who might have one to sell, hopefully has one to sell in the next few weeks, but I would be shocked to see it go for less than 10, just given that like Ernesto's Black Label $5 promo English Charizard went for $3,000. Given that I sold what is a PSA 10 is $140. James and I both independently sold those on Fanatics and eBay. We sold those for like $4,000. The Shiny Treasure Charizard EX. So I'm more like 20 to 30 feels like what it would go for to me. 20 to 50, I like when you say that. I don't know how much, but if I could pay, if John and I could pay with one Black Label for all 400, that would be amazing. That is what I want for Christmas. That is all I want for Christmas. Any changes to your raw sourcing process with cards moving so much in price the last 2 weeks? Yes. So I am not actively buying Bubble Mews and 151 Charizards. I guess I did. I did recently buy, I did like a trade. I did a trade with something I had on eBay for a complete 151 set. We did it at like 75% value. If I had bought that 2 or 3 weeks ago, I would have been comfortable doing it at 85% value. So I lower my percentages on things that feel a bit too high, things that might dip or correct in the meantime. A lot of times people don't want to sell to me though. It's like if I'm offering 70%, they can probably get 80% elsewhere, which is fine. But there's a lot of other things. I promise you. During the boom when WotC was going nuts, when all the English was going crazy, I was buying Masakis, I was buying Burn Towers, I was buying Mysterious Pearls. There was tons of stuff to buy. Just Pokemon is diverse. Things are booming right now, a lot of things, but a lot of things aren't booming too. And there's a lot of margin to be made. There's a lot of things to buy. So I change what I do, but I'm still spending a lot of money. How's it going, young Bambino? Nice to see you. Yeah, Dylan, I would say like it's perfectly fine. If you want to cease doing business with Whatnot, that is fully your choice, and you can make that choice absolutely. I think to condemn, and I might be out of the loop. I don't follow it that closely, but I'm quite confident there are hundreds of sellers, if not thousands. I'm sure there are people doing good business on Whatnot. Again, eBay, Fanatics, Heritage, Golden Link, every platform will have some amount of people using it that are bad and some amount of people that are using it that are good. But by no means do you have to use it. Like it's perfectly fine to skip out on using it. I would say overall, one thing I would say overall, and note that I am biased because I'm on Fanatics Live right now. I'm not on Whatnot. I'm not on eBay Live. But due to the fact that eBay Live and Fanatics Live are newer, and due to the fact that they have closed selling setups right now, they're only taking in vetted sellers. It's a closed system you have to apply for. I think that you are generally safer on Fanatics and eBay Live as of today. Presumably in 5 or 10 years, if both of those platforms continue to exist, presumably they'll open up more to more sellers. So the risk level will go up over time as it did with Whatnot. But I would wager a bet that the single like scammiest seller on Fanatics Live or eBay Live is worse than the best seller on Whatnot. Like absolutely, that's not even taking a leap. Just a law of large numbers. Like there are good people on Whatnot. If you don't want to take the time to wade through and find them, that's your choice. That's perfectly fine. I'm not selling on there. I have no like skin in this game. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on it. I've never graded a card. Definitely want to when eventually I'll sell. Seem like a risk and process lazy. Yeah, one thing I do, I know James has been back and forth with it. He's done Consignment Plus and then he's not done it and then he's done it. I don't talk about it too loudly. I don't push it too widely. But Fanatics does offer, and I myself do offer, you can send raw cards to me and I can evaluate them. I'm not a perfect pre-grader by any means, but for some of my Fanatics auction clients, I will take in raw cards and I will say, like, I think this is best at PSA, and we send in the raw. It gets auctioned on PSA. It gets auctioned as a PSA graded card once it's graded. Same thing with CGC. Same thing with BGS. I have done that with all three major grading companies. I take in raw. I sell them on Fanatics auction once they're graded. So that is a service that I do. I don't talk about it in depth. Just 2 hours into live streams when it comes up from time to time. If Surgeon gets the 200 a box, is that really beneficial for the hobby? They're just going to reprint it heavy. I think it's good for the hobby. Something in the middle. I think 200 a box is bad for the hobby in some ways, but 90 a box is bad for the hobby in a lot of ways too. I think it would be better if prices were generally at or around MSRP so that like stores could make margin. I think it would be better if LGSs could get by, make a reasonable profit on most sets most of the time. When a really stinker set comes out and it goes to 90, that being more of the exception, maybe MSRP's a lot. MSRP's 160, whatever. I don't know if Mason's still in here, but I'm sure Mason would be on board with like, it would be kind of nice if most sets would be 110 to 120. But the thing is, you get the big online retailers, you get the big LGSs, you get the big dogs who get the boxes for $10 a box cheaper than you do. They have negotiated deals with the selling platforms. They have their own website, whatever it may be. People just love running the margin down to like nothing. It's feast or famine. It's like the boxes are 95 shipped on eBay and I have to sell them at a loss if I want to sell them, or they're like stonking to the moon going to 200. Things are crazy. Like there is some in between here and there, but like it feels like it's one or the other extreme. So 1,000 card subs don't even exist unless you're like GameStop might be sending cards into PSA at a much higher level, much higher. But like 500 has always been the number. I believe it might be 600 with CGC, 500 with PSA, but they like limit you on how many you could submit in one submission. I learned that in the boom in 2020, 2021 when I was chucking thousands of cards. I had to break them up into bite-sized chunks. You couldn't send 1,000 in one go. So, but like, I stand by what I said. I stand by what I said. The biggest metric, again, control what you can control, base it off actual things that are like known and tangible. If you can't stomach losing a 100 card submission, if you can't financially survive losing a 100 card submission, don't send a 100 card submission. If you need to send 25 to 50, to make you be able to sleep at night for what you might lose all at once if the package gets lost in the mail and insurance doesn't pay out or whatever, send that amount that makes sense for you due to those reasons. Don't send a random amount due to tinfoil hat, whatever. Send it based off tangible things like shipping risk. Send it based off tangible things like infrequently, but there have been times that I've submitted very high-end submissions and I had to break them up into smaller submissions for insurance reasons. Like not for I couldn't stomach this loss, just for like my insurance policy would not pay out this entire submission if it was all lost at once. So, and my insurance limits have risen over time, so what was an issue in the past wouldn't be today, largely. But build your submissions based around actual things that exist in the real world, not all these like theoretical potential tinfoil hat things. That's what I do. That's my take. Where are we? I jumped to the bottom. Dan says throw more shit at the wall and something is bound to stick. I wish PSA had another service to grade the condition of the case after they grade the card. Found me from YouTube talking about Troll and Toad Evo. Man, I miss it. I miss it. Found you through Pokeflips, and I think Pokeflips got recommended to me back in summer of 2022. That's awesome. Pokenomics years ago is how I found you before the channel. Just don't have experience pre-grading. I have about 40 sealed special delivery Pikachus that I want to grade for a while, but just never got to it. Also love having them. Wow, that's awesome. Found you through a Discord group and all the degenerates of that with deep discussions. Shipping a heavier package to the US for me is around 300 and flying to New York is 600. Wow, that's crazy. That round trip is 600. That's crazy. Yeah, so some of this morality conversation comes down to like, is a bar moral? Is a like some people will like I will go to a fantasy football draft party and I'll have a couple drinks and I'll arrange for my wife to pick me up, or I won't have the drinks, right? Like some amount of people will abuse that establishment and they will go and they will overdrink and they will drive themselves somewhere. I don't think a bar shouldn't exist because some people abuse it. I think the bartenders and the bar owner, and I think people with their friends and family that they're hanging out with, I think people should look out for each other and they should try to minimize the bad behaviors that can happen. Same thing with like a casino. I don't think a casino is inherently moral or immoral. Some people really ruin their lives there and it sucks. People ruin their lives at bars and it sucks. But like there are reasonable ways to interact with those as well. There are bad bartenders that will overserve and won't take someone's keys. There are and dealers, I don't know what kind of moral requirement dealers have. Like if a dealer hears the guy talking about like, I don't know how I'm going to feed my kid tonight. I don't know how I'm going to make rent this month. I don't know if dealers will like stop serving if they keep putting cash on the table. Maybe some will, maybe some won't. I don't know if casinos have policies on that, but like, should they, do they? That's like, there are reasonable ways to interact with it, and there are some amount of them that do it well and some amount of them that don't do it well. I don't think you can condemn them all, though some people would push back on that and some people would say alcohol should be banned again, gambling should be banned, and like there are reasonable logical arguments that could be made towards those things. Getting deeper into it too, there are reasonable logical arguments that could be made. I'm trying to find just a sealed general Pokemon product, but like I truly think there are reasonable arguments that could be made that like Pokemon products shouldn't exist in the way that they do. They're gambling for children and adults too, but like I think there are certain loot box laws that have happened digitally wise, and I don't know how Pokemon, they all skirt it in their own way, but yeah, we could get really deep down the rabbit holes of like morality and all those different things, and a lot of the foundation of the hobby is built on gambling and degeneracy to some extent. The core product in the hobby is a randomized booster pack where you don't know what you're going to get. You might spend $1,000 and get $10 worth of singles. Do you have any tips for shipping items to save dollars, have less issues, etc.? I have a couple of videos on my channel. If you search my channel for like, how do I ship cards? I think a lot of people overpack. I think a lot of people go into a box when you don't have to. Some people that do it at a high level too, like Rusty, TCA Gaming, he goes into a cardboard box, as far as I understand, for like $100, $200 slabs. I ship I go into a box at $750. I go into a box when I have to add signature. So I'll ship a $600 slab in a double bubble with a piece of cardboard. And I save dollars. I save dollars per shipment due to having it be less weight, due to having the bubble mailers be a lot cheaper than the box. But yeah, like I have a couple of videos on my channel. Check those out. Is Lorcana going to make it for the long haul? I have no idea. I'm not engaged in Lorcana whatsoever. I appreciate you being here, and sorry I couldn't answer your question very well. I believe in Pokemon for the long term, but I still don't know that it will. I hope that it will. I don't like the card layout for Lorcana. Somehow the cards don't feel TCG to me. Enjoy the hobby and don't treat these as investments. Yes, we can sometimes get crazy returns, but it's a gamble. Treat it as such and enjoy. Not 10% as experienced as you, Dan, but that's what I told my friend. I could see the Pika going for 6 to 8K. I don't know, not the first. And if you're sending a bunch, that will probably mean multiple. Then again, the market random, and I'm not buying at that range to know what people want. I think the the $4,000, $5,000 Shiny Treasure EX Charizard that goes for like $4 grand. I want to say that's like top 20 to 40 somewhere. But yeah, like we're all just guessing. We're not the buyers for them, so it's hard for us to say. What service level are you using with BGS for those Black Label plays? Generally bulk. Generally bulk, no subs. They add the subs if you 10 or Black Label. So I generally am using bulk. I did send a small amount. I think I sent 10 to 15 of these at 35. That there was a promo where it was discounted to 25. So I did send a small amount at a slightly higher tier. Well, a fair bit higher tier, I guess. Do I buy Greninja at 500 and Umbreon VMAX for 1200 or just invest in Surging? So I am not investing in Greninja or Umbreon at 500 or 1000. I am buying 38 cases of Surging. So I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. I'm putting money into Surging that I will be selling some amount out of the gate, very, very small amounts. I will be selling some amount down the line. I will expect to make money on my money, but I'm not actively buying Umbreon or Greninja. I would buy them raw if they were gradable, grade them and then sell them. I'm not really speculating investing on graded. I pretty much flip graded, and then I more speculate invest in sealed. I wish Mason continued his shop sim dreams. I saw on Twitch. Let me check Twitch right now. On Twitch, I saw something about it being like the third. Someone posted that on Instagram. It was like the third highest, probably because one of the huge streamers must have been playing it. I'm checking where it is right now. So TCG Card Shop Simulator. Oh, I'm not sorted high to low. Let me sort high to low. So TCG Card Shop Simulator is being watched live by 63.8 thousand viewers on Twitch. Let me see what the highest person is. So one massive person, Case O. I don't know who that is, but he has 58,000 viewers. So one guy is like the third highest streamer is 240 views. So one guy is like all the views, but that's still pretty wild. TCG Card Shop Simulator is the fourth highest streamed game on Twitch right now. Casper says, I can only send 5 so I can sleep good at night. What one option that you have now that just came out that is great for people that can't send as many, GameStop. I don't think it's applicable to a lot of the people that are really deep in the hobby. I'm not going to send raw cards to GameStop to have them graded. But like, you don't have to have a membership. You take them to GameStop and like Leonhardt has a video. I'm not going to make a video on the process of grading cards through GameStop. But there's a lot of videos out there. There's a lot of videos out there of how you do that. And I think that's a good service for some people. So it might be worthwhile for you to look into that. I just sent 134. I made it 184. Are the Jets done for the season? Probably. 2-6 is rough. Oh, where am I at? Let's see. I'm getting close to the end. I probably will wrap up by 1:30. 2.5 hours that'll be. I'll not go any later than that. But degenerate gamblers is what makes Pokemon, folks. What do you think about Metazoo? I mentioned it earlier, but I heard Charlie Herlocker is going to be having a live stream sometime in the next week or two with Nick Strength and Pokemon. I'm very interested to hear what they have to say. I will be talking more about Metazoo in the future, Meta2 in the future, but I don't really have anything to say about it. Just going to be following the primary information that comes from GameCubator Labs, from Charlie, from the people working on the design for it. It seems for every 100 to 150 orders, I run into 1 to 2 having some shipping issue with USPS. What is your UPS defect rate? Just curious as I use your packaging process for slabs. Significantly less than 1%. I've lost track how many over 10,000 shipments I've done on eBay between single graded cards, between everything. And I can count on my hand the amount of like slabs that have cracked. I can count on one hand the amount of orders that have just entirely disappeared. It is very exceptional that things get lost, that things have issues. It's like you just hear about it every time that it happens. People will complain about it, and reasonably so. Like, it sucks when that happens, but it very infrequently happens. Why do people buy and resell for a profit of about $10? If you can make $10 in 5 minutes, that's 60. No, yeah, that's $120 an hour, right? So why would you buy and resell for a profit of about 10? I mean, how many times can you do that in an hour? If you can do that 30 times in an hour, that's $300 an hour. So context is needed. I would not buy and sell for a profit of $10 if I had to do that, if I could only do that once an hour, right? And some amount of capital is at risk, yada yada. Like, there's more nuance to it. But anyways, Ninja is pretty, but I feel like people might forget about it once the really big cards start coming out. I graded like 10 copies of Van Gogh with BGS that I pulled from 50 sealed, 2 of those little boxes, and got killed with 9s, regraded them all with PSA for 10s. I will be doing the same if I need to. I think I sent 20. So I went through 150. I have 400, as I've said. Probably tomorrow I'll be going through another 150 or 200. But there's still 9 boxes in here, so there's 225 left to go through. I've gone through 150. Here are 25 that I just popped out in case I wanted to pre-grade some on stream, but I don't think I'm gonna have time to. But I actually have. I'm not gonna show what they are, but I've got some fun little crack and regrade experiments going on. May or may not be some BGS stamp promo failed black labels that recently came back that are gonna go to PSA. They're gonna get 10s. Most of them will get 10s, but that's part of the black label gamble. You've got to occasionally just crack out the failed 9s, 9.5s. I've cracked out BGS 8.5s that end up 10ing at PSA. A lot of it is just there's a fair amount of randomness. There's a fair amount of inconsistency. It's the game that we play. Like, it just is what it is. He's a big streamer in general, so it's not a good metric to base it off of. Yeah, there are certain people that will have 50,000 people watching them if they were streaming RuneScape, streaming whatever. So, would you drop off all the cards at the same location or sprinkle them around? I feel like graders don't like to give back-to-back 10s. So back in the day, I graded 40 or 50 consecutive Reds Pikachu PSA 10s. Graders don't care. We care way more than they do. I would not spend 3 hours driving around to different GameStops to sprinkle them around. I would send them all through one, but like, you do you. I talked about it earlier. I don't play the games of that. Like, if you want to do 5 at one and 5 at another because you worry that one gets lost or one GameStop employee steals them or swaps them out, like, probably don't submit them to begin with. But like, I think sending 10, all 10 at one would be fine. But like, you do you. Dan, if someone gave you 5K to travel anywhere in the world, where would you go and why? Probably a super boring answer, but like, I'm my lifelong goal, shared goal with my wife. I've got like it's like a scratch off thing. It's a map in our dining room, and we will do all, like, as long as health is there, as long as we live long enough, we will do all 50 United States. We did Alaska for our honeymoon. It was beautiful. It was amazing. It was awesome. 2 of the best weeks of my life for sure. Hawaii is one that I would love to do. Can't wait till I do it. Maybe 5K wouldn't even do that one. But I just want to do all 50 states. Maybe once I do all 50 states, maybe I go travel the world. I know my buddy that just got married, he was talking. I talked with him at the wedding for a while. They're going to Monaco and Sicily, and they're going, like, I have friends who've honeymooned in Ireland and saw all these beautiful things. People that went to Greece and people that went to, like, all these. I understand and I know Australia, Japan, like, there is beauty throughout the entire world. But one big thing for me is, like, the amount of time and additional money it takes to get there. There's enough stuff left that I want to see, that I have to see in my own country, that, like, I'm going to do that first. And then on the other side of it, hopefully, health, all that willing, maybe I'll go bigger. Maybe someday. I remember when we were on our honeymoon, we did 1 week by land, Fairbanks down to Whittier, Alaska, and then we did 1 week by sea on a cruise ship. Whittier, we did on land. We went Denali, Talkeetna. We did Juneau whale watching. We did all different kinds of stuff the whole way. Ended up in Canada, in Vancouver, whatever western coastal city that is. I believe it's Vancouver, but sometimes I mix up Vancouver and Ottawa and whatever. I forget which one's west. But anyways, there was this guy that we had. Sometimes we did like a one-on-one dinner, like the two of us at one single table, small table. But sometimes we went like on a cruise ship. Occasionally we did like a big 8-person table, and there was 4 different couples. And I remember one time there was like very veteran cruisers on board. And I remember we got like a bunch of tips for the cruise and talked with some of them, had met some interesting people. And one guy had like, they were on like we were on a 1 week Alaskan cruise. They were on like a 60-day one that it fully enveloped the 7-day Alaskan one. But once that one ended, they were going to like go on a 10-day one to Hawaii or a Caribbean or like wherever it was. I don't remember exactly what it was, but we talked to 1 or 2 different people or couples and maybe someday I do something like that. Some people are very big on cruises. Some people are very against them. But if I could literally just take like a 60-day cruise for our 60th wedding anniversary or our 60th birthdays, one of our 60th birthdays, that could be something that would be really cool. Maybe it wouldn't be. Maybe I'd hate it. Maybe that would be too many days at sea. But I think I'm going to stick with the U.S. for now. So I would answer something like Yellowstone or something along those lines. It would be domestic. Boring answer probably for a lot of people. But that's all my long ranty reasoning as to why I want to do the U.S. first. How's it going, Trainer Sing Collects? Hello, is the 151 PC ETB undervalued? People forget Hidden Fates was over 300 for a long time before the reprints. Biggest thing to me is opportunity cost. Like, if you're investing, opportunity cost matters. Tomorrow they could, if they wanted to, they could drop 151 PC ETBs on Pokemon Center. There are certain things that I think give you as much potential upside, way less potential downside, in and outside of Pokemon. So like, I'm not buying more 151 PC ETBs. Could they go up? Absolutely. Could they go down? A lot? Absolutely. That's my thoughts. Can you show how to crack the slab? Cracking a slab is super easy. I mean, I don't have one handy here to crack, but I was just cracking some. Like, I literally use like cutting pliers. These are just cutting pliers. Your local Lowe's, Home Depot, whatever hardware store, Ace, hardware or home improvement store. Buy some cutting pliers. And then I use, I've got like a multi-tool. I use the knife on my multi-tool because it's pretty wide. Some people use a butter knife. Some people use a screwdriver. But I use these 2 tools. Very, very easy to crack a slab. Start on cheap ones. Go on eBay. Sort by low auction price to high. Buy like a $5 random slab to practice on. Don't practice on something super expensive. Got Lucky sent 10 cards back in December 2022 for their special. Got 2 black labels. Sold one and kept the other. A Pikachu Movie 2000 phone card. I sold the black label tag team English card. Got Lucky. Yeah, there's a lot of luck involved. There's a lot of randomness, a lot of inconsistency for sure. Is Hidden Fates the most undervalued Sun and Moon ETB? Was 300 plus at one point and it's been stagnant, slight gains recently. I think Hidden Fates ETBs are at the point. I don't know exactly what they're going for on TCG Player, but I've noticed at some points in the past 6 months or so, they've actually been, you could just buy them, break them down, and sell the components for more money. Like, there are definitely times that things are undervalued for the fact that their contents are worth more than the sealed product. I have arbitraged historically on instances like that. If you're talking about that kind of undervalued, I've definitely done that before. There's tons of beautiful, amazing things to see in the world. I'll never have the time to see them all. But yeah, we'll see where life takes me. With a new TCG Pocket game releasing today, do you see the 2016 Pokemon JPN XY promo game art collection 276 Charizard EX full art PSA 10? I think that's a beautiful card. I know the one you're talking about, but I don't invest in slabs. I don't think any slabs are so undervalued that I like buy them to just hold. My opportunity cost is not at a point which it makes sense for me to do that. I think there are some amount of people doing it on credit cards with significantly worse opportunity cost considerations than I have. Good luck to them. I hope things go well for them, but like I'm not in a spot where it makes sense for me to invest in slabs or speculate in slabs. I'm not a fish nor a bird. I prefer to stay on land. My cruise was awesome. I had a really good time on the cruise. I'm a big buffet fan. I'm a big buffet fan. I like having a lot of variety, eating a lot of different kinds of food. I spent quite a bit of time in Yellowstone, so let me know if you ever come out this way. Yes, protect your eyes for sure. There will be plastic flying everywhere. And I appreciate that, PokeMT. Someday, I'm sure my life will take me there, but I have no idea when. When do you think Crown Zenith will pump again? Crown Zenith had a tough time because they made so many of those collection boxes that had, like, Crown Zenith got, so much of it got put onto the market. I think it'll do well over time, though. I love it. Beautiful set. Beautiful chase cards. I don't have the Raikou in front of me, but I have these two in front of me. Beautiful cards in that set. Fun to open, too. Then, is there anything special you want to do with your kids once they're old enough? Like a teaching moment or something fun? Tons of things I want to do with my kids someday when they're old enough. Like, they're old enough for... Right now, I'm doing Cub Scouts with my son, doing soccer with both kids. My wife is doing dance with my daughter. I want to travel with them. I want to take them to Disney someday. I want to take them around the country. I want to take them wherever they want to go. If they want to go, try to be the very best like no one ever was, be the next Pokemon World Champion, I would love to do that with them. If they want to go... Whatever they want to do. Like, I just want to be there to be with them, support them, all that good stuff. I want to travel the country with my wife, maybe someday the world. But no, I'm excited. I'm excited for the future in Pokemon. I'm excited for the future outside of Pokemon. But yeah, I'm gonna call it there. I'm gonna call it. Can still buy those boxes, and it appears they lifted the membership. What will be the first Sword and Shield main set to hit 300 other than base Evolving Skies, of course? I don't know. Chilling, Fusion, Lost Origin. Take your guess. I would just be guessing. I have some amount of all of them. Most of them. I have some amount of most of them, but I genuinely don't know. That's why I buy a little bit of everything. I'm not smart enough to pick sets. I don't know what they're going to short print, fail to reprint, whatever it may be. But yeah, thanks everyone for hanging out here. This guy says Fusion. Thanks. Have a good one. Yeah, I appreciate everyone hanging out. I'm going to go for real this time. 2.5 hours is plenty. Bonus live stream this week. I will be live on Friday with Pokeflips as long as Nick is still planning to go live. I need to verify with him. But we will be live Friday with Pokeflips. I appreciate everyone hanging out. Stay safe out there. Stay safe out there. The market is doing crazy things. A lot of money to be made. A lot of money to be lost, though, if you're chasing FOMO, chasing the hype, all that stuff. So, yeah. Have a good night, everyone. Thanks for watching. I will catch you all later.